This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. Bulldozers roll into Shantytown. 45 incomplete and unoccupied structures in the farm Shantytown and Abaco demolished. Diagler defending the removal of COVID testing for vaccinated travelers. And in our discussion today, we are talking with UB about their political debate series set to start next month. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Friday, April 23rd, 2021. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Stephen Hanna will be joining us. Also this morning in Morning Blend Business, we are talking with the head of the Hotel Union. Darren Woods will be joining us. A lot to talk to him about. That's coming up. But first, it's time for the Overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, 45 incomplete and unoccupied structures in the farm, Shantytown, and Treasure Key, Abaco demolished, according to the Ministry of Public Works. It said debris from the structure was being safely disposed. The ministry saying in a statement yesterday that the government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas remains firm in its resolve to ensure that the health standards and hazardous conditions that unregulated communities foster are dealt with decisively and effectively. The demolition in the farm took place ahead of a judicial review hearing, which will resume on April 27th. Shantytown residents, represented by Fred Smith, QC, are challenging the government's policy to rid the country of shantytowns. In 2018, the government announced that all shantytowns in the Bahamas will be demolished. It subsequently gave residents of most shantytowns in New Providence until August 10th, 2018 to leave before demolition. Residents in shantytowns on Abaco were to be given until the end of July 2019 to leave. However, in August 2018, Supreme Court Justice Cheryl Grant Thompson granted an injunction preventing the demolition of shantytowns. In a statement yesterday, Smith, who also serves as legal director of Human Rights Bahamas, said the demolition was taking place, quote, at the very moment when the fate of this community is before the courts and awaiting the judge's ruling. We're supposed to be a constitutional democracy that operates according to the rule of law. What is the point of having courts as a forum for settling disputes if the government is just willing to ignore the judicial process, proceed according to the formula that might make right, and ruin people's lives without lawful justification? When asked by the media about the injunction, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Works Desmond Bannister said the Building Control Department had drone footage of all the buildings and that they had marked those buildings appropriately and that they knew that for now they cannot touch the buildings, so those buildings will remain in the state that they are. In other news, Minister of Tourism Dionisio de Aguilar defending the government's decision to allow people fully vaccinated against COVID-19 to enter and travel throughout the Bahamas without testing, while many have raised concerns over the potential for vaccinated people to still catch and transmit COVID. De Aguilar says recent evidence is showing that to be unlikely. Sky Bahamas CEO Randy Butler, who was accused of defrauding two companies of millions of dollars, losing his bid to have a judgment in default of defense entered against him set aside. In January, Alpha Aviation Limited and Advanced Aviation Limited, the plaintiffs, entered a judgment in default of defense, stating that no defense was entered by Butler, Sky Bahamas Airlines Limited, and Aviation Oversight Group Limited, the defendants. Attorney Michael Horton, who represents the defendants, filed an application to set aside the judgment in default. However, Supreme Court Deputy Registrar Carol Miezowitz yesterday declined to exercise her discretion to set aside the judgment in default of defense. You can read more about this in today's Nassau Guardian. Overseas, India put oxygen tankers on special express trains as major hospitals in New Delhi today begged on social media for more supplies to save COVID-19 patients who are struggling to breathe. More than a dozen people died when an oxygen-fed fire ripped through a coronavirus ward in a populous western state. India's underfunded health system is tattering as the world's worst coronavirus surge wears out the nation, which set another global record in daily infections for a second straight day with 332,730. India has confirmed 16 million cases so far, second only to the United States. In a country of nearly 1.4 billion, India has recorded 2,263 deaths in the past 24 hours for a total of 186,920. The fire in a hospital intensive care unit killed 13 COVID-19 patients in the Virar area on the outskirts of Mumbai early today. The situation was worsening by the day, with hospitals taking to social media pleading with the government to replenish their oxygen supplies and threatening to stop fresh admissions of patients. In the U.S., Louisiana has stopped asking the federal government for its full allotment of COVID-19 vaccine. About three-quarters of Kansas counties have turned down new shipments of the vaccine at least once over the past month. And in Mississippi, officials asking the federal government to ship vials of smaller packages so they don't go to waste. As the supply of coronavirus vaccine doses in the U.S. outpaces demand, some places around the country are finding there's such little interest in the shots that they need to turn down shipments. The dwindling demand for vaccines illustrates the challenge that the U.S. faces in trying to conquer the pandemic, while at the same time dealing with the optics of tens of thousands of doses sitting on shelves when countries like India and Brazil are in the midst of full-blown medical emergencies. More than half of American adults have received at least one vaccine dose, and U.S. President Joe Biden this week celebrated eclipsing 200 million doses administered in his first 100 days in office. He also acknowledged entering a new phase to bolster outreach and overcome hesitancy. Across the U.S., pharmacists and public health officials seeing the demand wane and supplies build up. About half of Iowa's counties have stopped asking for new doses from the state, and Louisiana didn't seek shipment of some vaccine doses over the past week. In sports, it was a good start for Bahamian collegiate player Sydney Clark and her team, the University of Alabama at Birmingham. And the Blazers at the NCAA Division I Conference USA Women's Tennis Championships. In first round action, the Blazers took down the University of Texas at San Antonio Roadrunners 4-0 yesterday morning. The championships being played on the campus of the University of North Texas in Denton, Texas. In NCAA Division II action, Bahamian Sierra Donaldson was not so fortunate as she and her team, the Lee University Flames, fell 4-1 to the Mississippi College Choctaws in the Gulf South Conference Women's Tennis Championship first round in Montgomery, Alabama yesterday. You can read more about how Bahamians are doing in today's Guardian Sports section. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. In your weather for today, we've got a weak frontal boundary approaching the extreme northwest Bahamas. That's going to merge with a stationary front across the northwestern islands today, then continue to slowly drift southeastwards while generating pockets of unsettled weather over portions of the northwest and central Bahamas today. Boaters in the northwest and central Bahamas should again exercise caution due to the high risk of waterspout or tornado activity today. For the northwest and central Bahamas, your forecast calls for partly cloudy, breezy, and warm conditions with isolated showers and thunderstorms mainly near that frontal boundary, or both of them, through tonight. The small craft cautions in effect for the northwest Bahamas. Expect gusty winds and higher seas in or near showers and thunderstorms. Winds north to northeast at 15 to 20 knots, shifting northeast to east later in the northwest Bahamas, easterly at 10 to 15 knots in the central islands. Seas 4 to 6 feet in the northwest Bahamas, but 2 to 4 feet in the central islands. For the southeast Bahamas today, look for variably cloudy and warm conditions with a few stray showers possible through tonight. Winds easterly at 10 to 15 knots, but higher in gusts. Seas 2 to 4 feet. It's about 75 degrees right now in Nassau. Look for highs getting up to around 84 Fahrenheit, 29 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 73 Fahrenheit, 23 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have your extended outlook coming up after traffic in just a bit. You are listening to Morning Blend. When we continue, we are discussing the day's top stories right here on your home for fresh news, smart talk all day. Guardian Radio 96.9.
Technology serves to make our lives better, so why not your business too? At Custom Computers, we've been maintaining our knowledge and relationships with top tech companies since 1987 and carry only the most trusted brands like Apple, Microsoft, HP, and more. No company has helped more businesses build reliable IT systems than Custom Computers. You name it, we've done it. Call 396-1101 to talk to any of our business experts. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake start of a new way. You know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Revolution. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Joining me now, Stephen Hanna. Good morning, Stephen Hanna.
Hey, what's up?
Great to have you with us as always. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, holding on.
Okay, you sound very excited as usual. Great to hear the enthusiasm. But yes,
I'll try to contain myself.
I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will. All right, so we have a lot to get to this morning, including more weather and traffic. In our 7 o'clock hour, we're going to begin a conversation with UB, the University of the Bahamas, partnering with Verizon Media to stage some political debates. Televised political debates. They'll be telling us all about that. Many have been calling for those for a long time. Will this be the start of something that will continue? We will see. We'll talk about that today. Then in Morning Blend Business, we're going to be talking with the president of the Bahamas Hotel Catering and Allied Workers Union. Many challenges facing the hotel sector over the past year as a result of the pandemic. We're going to talk about that with Darren Woods this morning. So a lot to get to, but let's begin with what's in the news. In the news, the Minister of Tourism defending the removal of COVID testing for vaccinated travelers. We're going to talk about that in a bit. But the big headline in the papers today in the Nassau Guardian, bulldozers roll into Shantytown. Our Jasper Ward writing about this today. 45 incomplete and unoccupied structures in the farm, Shantytown and Treasure Key, Abaco, demolished yesterday, according to the Ministry of Public Works. It said debris from the structure being safely disposed of. The ministry saying in a statement that, quote, the government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas remains firm in its commitment, its resolve to ensure that the health hazards and hazardous conditions that unregulated communities foster are dealt with decisively and effectively. Demolition in the farm took place ahead of a judicial review hearing, which will resume on April 27th. That's next week. Shantytown residents, represented by Fred Smith QC, are challenging the government's policy to rid the country of shantytowns. In a statement yesterday, Smith, who also serves as legal director of Human Rights Bahamas, says the demolition was taking place, quote, at the very moment when the fate of this community is before the courts and awaiting the judge's ruling. We're supposed to be a constitutional democracy that operates according to the rule of law. What is the point of having courts as a forum for settling disputes if the government is just willing to ignore the judicial process, proceed according to the formula that, quote, might makes right, and ruin people's lives without lawful justification? Just because you have a bulldozer doesn't mean you have to use it. The government of the Bahamas has hundreds of thousands of acres of vacant crown land in Abaco. Why not sell a small portion of it to these suffering people who only want a home for their families? Why not make a virtue out of necessity? Create a settlement and allow these people to build a meaningful future for their families, especially as it has been confirmed that the majority of them are Bahamians. Just because they happen to be of Haitian descent does not give the government the right to trample their constitutional rights. They are human beings too. Human Rights Bahamas will continue to await the judge's ruling. That's Fred Smith, QC there. Yesterday, when asked by the media about the injunction, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Works Desmond Bannister said, quote, "The Building Control Department has drone footage of all of those buildings. They have marked those buildings appropriately. They know that for now they cannot touch those buildings, so those buildings will remain in the state that they are." It was a reference to the shantytown structures that existed prior to the injunction. Now, the demolition was initially announced by Bannister during a communication in the House Assembly on April 12th. In that communication, he noted that the farm posed a challenge and that the unregulated structures threatened to spread to Treasure Key and impact groundwater. He also outlined other challenges with the shantytown, including the proliferation of commercial-sized generators, the illegal sale of electricity, and the sale of stolen goods. Bannister said that in order to address these challenges, Cabinet authorized him as the minister to review the challenges associated with the farm and to coordinate necessary actions to ensure that the unlawful practices are stopped. He said this resulted in a multi-phased coordinated plan. The first phase of this plan was carried out on March 8th. Yesterday's demolition was the second phase of the plan. Bannister, who was present in the farm during the demolition, said yesterday that this phase was, quote, "very important for the safety of the people who live here and for the safety of all Bahamians." He said the third phase, which will comprise the demolition of other structures in accordance with the provisions of the Building Regulations Act, is expected to start in 2 weeks. He said, quote, "It is critical that everybody understands that these unregulated buildings must go. Persons cannot live in this type of squalor. They cannot live in these dangerous conditions, and they cannot be permitted to continue to create more dangerous conditions for Bahamians." Smith, though, is saying that it's most unfortunate the government would choose to create another humanitarian crisis on Abaco. He says, quote, "Hundreds of people already lost homes in the tragedy of Hurricane Dorian, and even more in the illegal demolitions by the government that followed." On the front of today's newspapers, the managing director of the Disaster Reconstruction Authority is quoted as saying, "There is a severe housing shortage on Abaco, yet the government, in absence of any urgent need to take drastic action, is choosing to compound this crisis further, forcing more people into the streets or the bush, or who knows where." Bannister says he is assured that individuals who have regular standing in the country and who want to be able to live in reasonable conditions can make appropriate representations and seek accommodations. The demolitions are set to continue today. Okay, a lot said on both sides. What do you make of this? Both interesting points made on both sides, I think, but let's hear what you have to say about it, Stephen. And you can call us as well, listeners, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. You can text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC, 422-4796, 422-4796. Standard text rates apply.
I do understand the point about, we need housing for all Bahamians, and affordable housing. So in that regard, to that particular portion of what Fred Smith says, I get and I agree with. But in a general sense, as rare as it is to say, I have to agree with Desmond Bannister, and that we can't keep on building unsafe communities like that, and we can't allow it to continue. I think that it's important that, in all fairness, the things that happen across the board. Because if we are saying that we're doing this for the health and safety of the Bahamian citizens and the residents and the persons who live inside this country, then we have to do it everywhere and not just in places where the people are primarily of Haitian descent. So it's like we can't. If the issue is with shanty towns, they're poorly constructed. We can't have in the quote-unquote inner cities of New Providence people living in houses that are poorly constructed. If the issue is there's not proper plumbing or running water, then the same thing could be said about inner cities inside New Providence. So, like, my only desire would be, yes, we need affordable housing for everyone, and also let's fix these things across the board and not just make this about, because if that's the case, if we're only saying it only applies here in this area, then it does become a bit suspect.
Well, I think it gets more complicated when you don't have a claim to the land, though. So if I'm on my own property and it's...
No, but that's the thing. The people who live in Beantown and Grantstown who are living in these type of conditions don't own the land either.
I mean, I don't think we can say that across the board. I'm sure there are many who don't.
For the majority of them,
well, I wouldn't even go... Can you say that definitively?
Yes.
I'm sure many don't, but many do. Many are living in generational properties.
Even if it was one, right? And even if you say the person owns the property, that still doesn't justify it. Because when you start talking about crown land and stuff, right? It's land. It was crown land. It was given to a citizen for some purpose, whether it's to make a school or a farm or whatever it is. You can't then just say, well, now that it's technically your property, you can do whatever you want to do. Same thing applies. If I want to open up a liquor store, I can't open up a liquor store just because it's my house. I can't open up a liquor store in it. Even if I say, no, it's my private property, especially if I live next door to a school or a church. Like, regardless of private property rights in quotation marks, there are still things that have to happen. And I'm just saying, if we are saying this is for health and safety purposes, yes, let us take this same level of action to correct these matters everywhere. And part of correcting the matters means you have to provide a place, because once again, because I know people are going to call in and say, all of them need to go back home. One, a lot of these persons are Bahamians. Two, a lot of people who aren't Bahamians they have permanent residency or they have status here, so it's like there must be some place for them to go, all right? And so in that regard, I agree with Fred Smith. Everything else I don't agree with, where it's like, just leave it and let it be. Okay.
All right. Let's take your calls again. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us. Let's take a call. Good morning, caller. You're on there.
Mr. Strachan.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning to you, sir.
Yes,
and also good morning to your guest. I have a comment, and I would like for you to respond, you and Mr. Hanna. Why we as a nation, we're being challenged with law and order. And right next door to the north of us, when we all go there frequently, we then respect and understand law and order.
You sure?
Well, we apply ourselves to it, sir.
I'm sure some do.
Can you respond to that?
A lot of people don't, but I do get your point a bit. But a lot of people don't. I don't think we admit that. There are quite a few people who have overstayed their time over there, have committed crimes. If you could see it, just Google some names, you'll see their mugshots. So I don't know, but for the most part, most people behave when they travel. But what's the main point you're getting to?
The point is, let's say, yes, I agree with you. But if being caught, there's the consequences of being in the U.S. illegally or disobeying any law?
Well, yeah, there are consequences.
So
yes.
Why is it that in our country that we seem not to want to respect consequences? Explain that for me.
Well, I might not be able to do that one.
But let me, after making that point, let me just say this. I don't claim to come on this radio and believe that I am perfect. I have my deficiencies in many ways, but I still believe in the Bible, the principle of the Bible. I am so baffled with this disorderly Jezebel spirit over this country, over the Bahamas. This is mind-bubbling. And then when you have persons who know better, who understand law, who want to support it and support this behavior. Okay, let's use for example. I operate a small candy. I call it Candy Kitchen, and I've been doing this for 40 years. I will be embarrassed if my name being alleged of not obeying the law. Let's use the COVID agencies that come around checks. When they come around check, I normally ask, what are you looking for? And let me know if I am abiding by the protocol, whatever you all have in place. And I try to be an example in my neighborhood. I support the demolition. Because I know, as a frequent traveler to the U.S., that Bahamians play fool. We act stupid. But when you want to go to the U.S., you could remember all the protocol. You know if you're being caught disobeying the U.S. law, there will be consequences. We need to get that in our head, and we need to practice that here. I support the demolition. Law and order have to be restored because guess what? We cannot allow the disorderly spirit of Jezebel to invade the Bahamas any longer. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much. Let's take another call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Good morning. Are you there? Nope. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Mr. Strachan, how are you doing, sir?
Doing well. Good morning.
You and your guest. Mr. Strachan, first of all,
You said you're a new guest?
right? Mr. Strachan, but the bigger picture is, right? Darren Enfield need to be held accountable, okay? Darren Enfield is the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Darren Enfield is the Minister for North Abacook. When the hurricane happened, you hear me?
I'm trying to see where you're going. Uh-huh.
No, Mr. Strachan, I talking real talking. I ain't talking who don't like who.
He didn't disagree
When
with
the
you.
hurricane happened, everything was destroyed. How come Darren Enfield allowed these places to get built back? And number two, right? That gentleman who told me rule and law. Oh, Minister Marvin Dames' business locked up or business or the Parliament. He's still in Parliament. So how you want him to obey rule when you get a minister who is condemned by the court who set up in Parliament right now? Pardon me?
Okay.
No one said anything.
Answer that, okay? And Mr. Strachan.
Uh-huh.
Last thing, for God's sake, man. Tell this FNM government and these doctors, stop charging Bahamians to get the COVID test, okay? It's criminal what they're doing to Bahamian people. Okay? People cannot buy food. People can't buy nothing.
Wow.
People won't come from Andres this morning. They have to take tests.
Yep.
That makes sense to you?
Well, that's the private labs. That's right. But the government can do something about it, I am sure. Yes, we talk about it every day. Okay.
I guess 1 out of 3 years in.
Well, yeah, I guess that's good. That might be progress.
It's not. There's no such thing as incremental progress. It's either we're moving forward or you figured out a way to make money off of it. But yeah,
All right. So, in his typical way to make it political, but hey, everybody on Abaco knows what's going on. And everybody saw these things. And very early after Dorian, people were saying they're building things back and that they were building on Abaco, they were building on Andros. People knew these things, right? So everybody who saw but people were reporting how it got to this point again. Well, something is very, very serious here. Let's take this call. Good morning, call. You're on the air.
Godly day to this dark universe, along with you and Stephen, Dwight.
Hi.
Dwight, I agree with Stephen so far, right? What I would... Okay.
Oh. Okay, call back. We had a little issue there. Call back. Let's take this call. Good morning, call to the phone. Boy, good morning, call. You're on the air.
Morning, Dwight. Morning, Stephen.
Hi, good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
Good. Stephen, you made some incredible points this morning, with Fred Smith in regards. But I think Fred Smith's point is, although we're going through the demolition and all that stuff, the issue is, what are you going to do with the people?
Right.
What are you going to do with the people? Obviously, there was people at homes before the hurricane, and now, we hear post-Hurricane Dorian, and we found out that they rebuilt, a lot of them rebuilt. So when you demolish, if you're not addressing the issue, and you demolish those homes, and they're still there, what do you think they're going to do?
Right, and people need shelter.
For them to go. Either you address the issue of sending them back if they're legal, or finding a parcel of land where they can buy and they can build with building codes. But you can't say you can demolish and just leave them, with no shelter, man.
Yeah.
And this is the continued issue we're having in the country. It cannot be a building control issue. If it's a building control issue, we have countless building control issues throughout this country. Although people, even with people getting behemoths getting crown land and then not doing what they're supposed to do with the crown land, they build homes on it, apartments on building structures. We know that's the issue. And that's like Stephen said, there's unsafe buildings throughout this country, man. Mm-hmm. That's not up to code. So it cannot be that it's an immigration issue that they're not addressing head on. And I think it's just smoke where, they know Bahamian people are frustrated with this particular community. And I just feel like they're just picking on them. Address the illegal immigration issue or address the citizenship issue in this country, and let's move forward.
Well, I think part of it is that.
Thank you very much.
I think part of it is definitely the fact that this technically isn't a citizenship or immigration issue because these people who live in this community have citizenship. I think the problem is that because they live in a distinct and separate community, persons look at them as distinct and separate. Those aren't really Bahamians. Those are people who live in the mud. They can't really be Bahamians. That's the people who live inside the shanty town, inside Pitch and P or wherever it may be, right? And so it's like, I feel like, once again, it pains me to agree with certain people, but a ball was dropped because after the hurricane, we had a do-over, all right? We had an opportunity to be like, listen, all the persons who have status here, who have permanent residency here, who are Bahamians, you can build over here, and you can build like this. Like that could have been something that was set out. No, I wouldn't even, maybe immediately afterwards or as soon as possible afterwards, but it wasn't, all right? We had a blank slate and nothing happened. And so when nothing happens, the vacuum had to be filled. People needed some place to live, so they went back to what they were doing before the hurricane.
Right.
And that was always a problem. So it's like the opportunity wasn't seized. And once again, it's not enough to just bulldoze structures that people are building because you're still not you're dealing with a symptom, not the problem. That's like taking cough syrup because you have COVID. Yeah, you can stop coughing, but you still have COVID. You know what I'm saying? Like there's an issue that needs to be dealt with, and we're not dealing with the issue. We're just saying superficially this issue, this part of it, you can't see it anymore.
Well, okay, I don't know if that's a good example, but yeah, I hear you. Well, that's really the only way we know how to treat it. So for the most part, but
I'm saying like
yes, it's still there.
If they saying that the persons who live in this area in this community are here legally because they're either Bahamian citizens or they have permanent residency or status here, right?
Yeah, we got you.
Then there should be some place for them to live. So just if this is not the place and this is not the way to do it, set out that place and the way to do it.
Sure. The most hurtful thing, though, is that this has been discussed so many times before, that there would be the land would be laid out, the communities would be developed. We've been talking about that for almost 20 years, and yet here we are still. And it's very disturbing. I believe it was identified, I remember under one of the Ingram administrations, was already identified what has happened since then, right? Why are we still having this discussion for Abaco?
But, every time the government changes,
every time
we have to start over because there's nothing good that could possibly have come from a previous administration.
Yeah. Let's take some more calls. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, Dwight. I called back. First, I want to say, right? Some was saying some of those people are Bahamians. When you're going to say that they're Bahamians, they're illegal. That's giving them the rights to go and say break open somebody's place because they're Bahamians. No, you gotta abide by the law. Everybody's supposed to abide by the law. And then next, right? Hello.
Yep, yeah, we're listening.
Next, when you're going to say they're Bahamians, give us statistics. Who they are? How much are they? You know what I'm saying? And the Bahamians don't have the rights to be billing for illegal people or people who doesn't have a place to stay. Get a job and try to find a place. It doesn't go like that. And other thing is, right, like Stephen said earlier, you want it to be all over the place. You have in Spence Street where the police comes in this place over and over hundreds of times, right? And people are illegal, like got them toilet on the water table, which was a well, you know. Those things are illegal, you know, and nobody are doing anything about it. If the government started to clean up this area or clean up the Bahamas, I don't think it should be any comment whereby this shouldn't happen and the other thing shouldn't happen. We want a clean, decent country for us, Bahamian people, and who want to enjoy it with us. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
I don't know.
I mean, I get his point. That can't just be the excuse either.
No, I mean, no one's saying that it's an excuse to do anything. No, like, no
some
one is
people
saying
are.
that.
Some people are.
Well, sorry. No one who is not being paid to be a lawyer is saying that. All right? That's not what I'm saying. I'm certain that's not what you're saying. All right? I'm just saying that everybody who is a Bahamian should have some place to live in this country. Everybody who is here legally should have access to some place to live. That's all I'm saying. All right? And if you're going to say that they cannot live, and I agree, they should not live in this condition, then something else should be at least pointing the direction.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I'm saying. But it's like that what he said just now bordered on. I mean, I don't want to use the word xenophobic because it's not somebody from a different country.
I don't think so, Stephen. I think he made a good point. I think, right?
I'm not saying that there isn't points to what he's saying that isn't true or doesn't have merit. I'm just saying there are certain things that he said that was like, you're right on the edge of saying those people don't belong here. And that's what it felt like.
I don't know if I heard that, but okay. But right now, the issue here is that the government, as you mentioned before, others are saying, yes, and Fred Smith is saying the same thing, provide access, not handouts, access to you to afford affordable housing or areas where you can build affordably in an area, provide an area for people who are here legitimately. And that is a challenge there and a challenge in a good part of the country, which is very strange because we've got a lot of land, especially on some of these islands. So, and that has to be addressed, and we're not hearing that being addressed as frequently.
The sooner that is addressed, the better we will all be.
Yeah.
Because that needs to be addressed, and once again, like I said, it needs to be addressed not just for persons of Haitian descent. It needs to be addressed for persons of all descent who are here legitimately in the country.
Yes.
Right? Because, like, I would like a place to live that is affordable and that I could build on. You know what I'm saying? Like that, it goes across the board. I'm sure there are tons of persons, younger and older than me, who've been either renting or living inside their parents' minivan in the back of the house or something like that would love a place to live. You know what I'm saying? Like all these things are going to help boost productivity in the country. They're going to help make the country a more sustainable, wonderful place to live because you're going to be like, well, my only resolve is to leave this rat-infested hellhole.
Yeah.
All right? Like, so the sooner we do that, the better off we will all be.
All right, let's take some more calls before we take a break, and you can continue to text us, 422-4796. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, guys. How are you this morning?
Doing well. Good morning.
Morning.
Why we can continue to push the cart before the horse. This is another case of pushing the cart before the horse. Up to date, we are getting the vaccine free, but yet we paying for the testing. Why couldn't the testing be free and pay for the vaccine?
Is this related to what we're talking about?
No, I'm drawing an illustration to you, sir.
Okay.
All right. Aren't these areas in the courts? Aren't these areas in the courts?
I think some
not
of
specifically.
the houses are according to what they're saying. Some of the houses were before the courts, but some of these are
now, you know what's going to happen next,
The
right?
matter is before the court, but specifically these homes apparently were built since that injunction.
No, I'm saying the area in general before the court.
Well, it's Abaco, I mean, if that's what you mean. But this area, apparently these homes were built. And as you heard, the minister
with
said...
all due respect to
I'm
you.
just telling you what the minister is saying, what they're saying, that
understand
the
what you're
houses that were... They did not demolish the houses that were part of the injunction.
150 houses in the original complaint.
All right.
Those houses are still there.
What I'm saying to you is this. Why don't we just bite the bullet, right? Wait till the court complete this injunction that is put place before the Bahamian government, right? Pertaining to demolition and relocating, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do this the right way for once, so we don't have this problem anymore, and then let's do it through the Bahamas when this whole process is completed. Because what's going to happen now? You know what's going to happen next, right? Amnesty International is going to step in, and there's going to be another problem again. Regardless,
Amnesty has no power to do anything. They just talk and observe.
Yeah, I understand it, but you notice when Amnesty International opened their mouth, the government stops, right?
I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, I've seen it happen.
No, not always.
But all I'm saying to you, sir, with all due respect to you, right? All I'm saying to you, I'm not condoning what's going on, all right? Because it totally, definitely is wrong. But let's do it right for once, okay? Because if the ministry is demolishing structures that just recently built, right? There are structures being built all over the Bahamas. And there are more structures being built in New Providence than in Abaco. And the recent structures are being built in Abaco. You realize those domes that were purchased to put legal persons in has yet to be completed in Abaco. Do you realize that? That's over $6 million being spent. But yet those domes are not completed in Abaco. And there are only a few structures that were supposed to be able to house families. Okay? So what else do you expect for persons to do? I'm not speaking about illegals. I'm speaking about legal persons in the Bahamas, okay? Because I can't condone illegalness in the Bahamas. And building structures on properties that you have no permit is illegal. I understand that. But I'm saying to you the process should have been dealt with completely, all and for once.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's what Fred Smith is saying. He's saying that should have happened, allow that to go through the court system before doing this. And, yeah. All right, let's take this final call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hi, Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Stephen. Dwight, let me see if I can help you a bit. Dwight, do you know anything about the contract?
I do.
You ever heard anything about the contract?
I think most of us have. Yes.
45?
Let me give you an example. My daddy, my grandfather, my uncles, etc. Many people from the Caribbean, Mexico, Cuba, went on the contract to put troops for the Americans when they fighting the Vietnam, fighting the wars, the Korean War and Vietnam. And they were recruited by the American government. They had to take tests for syphilis and all kind of things. They had nice homes to live in. The American people couldn't beat them and abuse them because they would have been sued. See what's happening in our country. What you all need to do, right? Let me give you a little moment. Go and see what we need in this country right now is a land where the Yakino, so we can see who owns these lands. I know it'd be surprised to who owns these lands. That's why it's not happening, And I talk on both parties to enforce this. See, there's got to be law in this country. And most many places I know can't even go back to the United States for whole state of time, go have baby, do $15,000, $20,000 bill, run the car, leave the car, all of them. But see, America don't play. See, they do that, though. See, we got a lot of weak people in this country running our country. That's why I keep telling you that more school they got this country messed right up, right? Nothing really can change the country until 2027. See what's right. There's something called rule of law. Cuba ain't got no problem. The Dominican Republic ain't got no problem. And I agree with you. They have an Amnesty International. They give us any money. They give us nothing.
Let's not go down this road. Amnesty International. Thanks a lot. Just an observation. Anyway. Okay.
I think people think that Amnesty International and the Christian Council have more power than they do. Those are lobbying groups.
Yeah.
They have absolutely no actual power besides to write a letter to say, hey, we don't think you should do this. And governments have used those persons and those lobbying groups as scapegoats to do exactly what it is that they actually want to do, which is nothing.
And many of the people who represent Amnesty International, those statements come from people who are living right here, not very international in many cases.
No, but I'm saying right, but at the same time, it's like the reason people say, because a lot of them say, oh, we need to start hanging and blah, 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 and they was blaming Amnesty International. Amnesty International has stopped even asking the Bahamas to take hanging off the books because, as far as they're concerned, we abolished hanging years ago. Once you pass 10 years and you ain't hanging nobody, they know that you ain't planning on hanging nobody. Your leaders do not believe in hanging. That's their belief. It's on their website that the Bahamas has essentially abolished hanging because we ain't hang nobody for almost 20 years. Right? And so it's like, we could blame Amnesty International for that, but that's not it's not that they did anything. Our leaders don't want to do it. And they let us continue thinking. Same thing with the Privy Council. Because whenever they wish to, they could totally disregard the Privy Council.
That is true. Let's read these messages and then we'll take a break. I agree with what the government did. I'm sure that the people who built those houses knew they were breaking the law, but heads must roll from people in town planning for allowing it to get that far.
I think y'all, town planning is like IRCA. I don't think town planning has like a bunch of people walking around looking.
No, they can't arrest.
To be like, oh, look at that structure over there. Especially not in Abaco.
Yeah. This one says, what is this now? There's a 6-unit apartment building on a property on a road off. That is. What is the line? No parking. Okay. Well, anyway, if I were cussing the Prime Minister of the Bahamas for his demonstration of lack of faith as a Christian Prime Minister concerning this pandemic, and you would have loudly and eloquently read my text without a doubt. What in God's name? But anyway, but now that the Prime Minister is expressing leadership beyond measure towards the fight against COVID-19, and you've chased and is defeating it, you have a problem reading my texts of applause and honor for the right, most honorable Hubert A. Minnis. The F&M is on the tracks of victory, and the gravy train is moving with joy and happiness. We have reached a new day, for this is the day the Lord has made, and we shall all rejoice and be glad in it. Thank you, Minnis. Thank you, Dwight Strachan, and mostly thank you, Lord Jesus. Cloudy skies, but beautiful morning. Yeah, Tiger, your boy. Good talks. Well, I don't know what's happening.
Listen, I want you to know that's how you end up like activating sleeper cell agents when you get ridiculous texts like that. And you should be ashamed of yourself, Dwight. You should have the good sense to know that that's clearly coded.
And then I would have I've been accused of doing what he said. I like anybody knows we don't save your numbers.
Who was he accusing you too?
Of not reading the text messages.
Lives by themselves with no family and friends.
Oh no, don't go there.
I'm not going to apologize for that person is not well.
You're going to cause him to text again. Stop. This one says that call is completely wrong. If the matter is still before the courts, then no new structures should be being built at all. Knock them down. Well, that's an interesting way to look at it. Yeah.
No, but I think that's. The issue is that some persons probably were like, well, since this whole thing is under review anyway, if we bill it, then we could get in underneath that scene. Like if they're okay, then we could be okay. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the government is like, well, no. You know, and anyway, it's a whole bunch of confusion. And I feel like we've not arrived at a solution.
April 27th. Soon reach. So
what happens then?
That's the day when they go back to court. So we will see what comes up. Another one here. I think the real issue is human trafficking motivated by greed. Okay.
That's not the real issue. This is not a human trafficking issue. This is not about migration. This is a housing issue. And the fact that every single person who called had to bring that up, whether they are for or against or they support the establishment or they abhor the establishment, had to bring up immigration, is a part of the problem. Like, we keep on looking at these people like these people are those people. And some of these people are our people. And it's like, it's not an immigration issue. Yeah. It's not. It's not an immigration issue. This is a housing issue. And that's why earlier I was like, we need to apply the same level of strength and determination in the inner cities, whereas like where people need better housing and they need better living conditions, that needs to be applied as well to New Providence.
All right, let me read a couple more of these messages and we got to take a break. Why wasn't Fred Smith advising those people in the shantytowns not to build new homes in those areas in lieu of the ongoing injunctions? Well, we don't know that he wasn't doing that, but okay. And another one, if the landowners allow building codes to be violated on their land, if they harbor illegal immigrants on their land, wouldn't a responsible conclusion be to prosecute the landowners? Well, as this matter has proven to be for many, many years, it's not as simple as that, it's very complicated. But in many cases, where there are landowners who are in violation, that should be happening. But a lot of these are leasers, and a lot of it is crown land, right? And so it is definitely multifaceted, multi-layered, a big problem that has been allowed to continue for far too long. All right. We got to take a break. When we come back, more of what's in the news. And later, we're going to be talking about UB and political debates, televised political debates. They're set to start next month. What can we expect? We'll get into that. A lot more Morning Blend after the break. Stay with us.
Myself, but I'm an expert at giving love to somebody else. I need myself and I see eye to eye. Need myself and I. Oh, why do I compare myself to everyone? And I always got my finger on the self-destruct. I wonder when I love me is enough. I wonder when I love me is enough. Why am I always looking for a ride or die? 'Cause mine's the only heart I'm gonna have for love. After all the went and fucked. Wake up.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
This is AP News. I'm Rita Foley.
Liftoff.
3, 2, 1, 0. Mission and liftoff. Godspeed, Endeavour, and Crew 2.
SpaceX launched 4 astronauts toward the International Space Station this morning. American, French, and Japanese astronauts. They should reach the space station tomorrow morning. This is a 23-hour ride in a capsule. The astronauts will spend 6 months at the space station. Last week, SpaceX beat out 2 other companies to land astronauts on the moon for NASA in 3 or more years. A CDC panel of experts is meeting today and may make a recommendation soon on whether and how to resume use of the Johnson & Johnson COVID vaccine. Vaccinators paused using the J&J vaccine 10 days ago after reports about rare blood clots. No final word yet on whether those blood clots are linked to the vaccine. The AP's Jackie Quinn on what we're learning now.
We've just learned another woman in Oregon has died, and in Texas, a woman is hospitalized. The CDC's warned that if symptoms develop within 3 weeks, like severe headaches, abdominal or leg pain, or shortness of breath, medical help should be sought. Today's meeting of a government advisory committee is to further discuss the vaccinations and make recommendations soon on whether or not to use the J&J one-and-done vaccine. The blood clots are considered extremely rare, 8 known cases out of 8 million vaccinations.
A prosecutor says the man accused of killing 10 people at a crowded Colorado supermarket last month had armed himself with 10 high-capacity ammunition magazines. Those have been banned in Colorado since 2013. This is AP News. Canada is banning passenger flights from 2 countries because of the coronavirus pandemic. Here's the AP's Mike Gracia.
Canada is banning all passenger flights from India and Pakistan for 30 days due to an increasing wave of COVID-19 cases in that region. Canada's transport minister announced the ban hours after India reported 314,000 new infections in the previous 24 hours, a global record. Canada's health minister said half of the people testing positive for the coronavirus after arriving by airplane came from India. Cargo flights from India and Pakistan will continue. I'm Mike Gracia.
A piece of copper struck by the U.S. Mint in 1794 is up for auction today. This is a prototype of the first U.S. dollar coins, estimated to sell for as much as $500,000 as it goes on the auction block online today. I'm Rita Foley, AP News.
7:24, time for your morning blend traffic alert, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank. In your real-time traffic at this hour, seeing the traffic building on Sir Mile Butler Highway, the northbound lanes heading towards Tawny Williams Darling Highway. If you get out now, you will avoid a lot of that rush, but it's building northbound. Gladstone Road looking better, but building as well the closer you get to JFK Drive at this hour. We're seeing traffic building on Blue Hill Road northbound as well, just north of Soldier Road and as you approach Independence Drive, and some building traffic along Carmichael eastbound and northbound on Blue Hill Road in that area, that junction with Carmichael. Elsewhere, just pockets and major intersections, but right now it looks good. Will be a different story, though, in about an hour. That's when we'll have another real-time report for you in your morning blend traffic alert, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank. And time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Rev Cable Bahamas. We've got a weak frontal boundary approaching the extreme northwest Bahamas. That's going to merge with a stationary front across the northwest Bahamas today, then continue to slowly drift southeastwards while generating pockets of unsettled weather over portions of the northwest and central Bahamas. Boaters in the northwest and central islands should exercise caution due to the high risk of waterspouts or tornado activity. Saw some of that yesterday, waterspouts, definitely. For the northwest and central Bahamas, look for partly cloudy, breezy, and warm conditions today with isolated showers and thunderstorms mainly near the frontal boundaries through tonight. Smallcraft caution in effect in the northwest Bahamas. Expect gusty winds and higher seas in or near heavy showers and thunderstorms. For the southeast Bahamas today, variably cloudy and warm with a few stray showers possible through tonight. 75 degrees right now to partly cloudy skies in Nassau. Look for highs getting up to around 84 Fahrenheit, 29 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 73 Fahrenheit, 23 Celsius. Definitely the temperatures much cooler, more comfortable than they were a few days ago. In your extended outlook as we head into the weekend, the frontal boundary is expected to slowly dissipate by tomorrow, while high pressure will briefly build across the islands through Sunday. So for tomorrow, Saturday, look for variably cloudy and breezy conditions with a few isolated showers. Sunday, partly cloudy and hot with a few isolated showers, mainly across the northwest Bahamas. That's your morning blend weather check, brought to you by Rev. Basketball fans, you've got to sign up or upgrade to Rev Trio and enjoy NBA League Pass absolutely free. Call 601-8992 or email trio@cablebahamas.com to sign up. Rev, you and us together.
The best place to get a new iPhone is at PTC. Make the iPhone 12 mini yours for just $199. That's big savings to go with our sweet postpaid value of unlimited local calls, international minutes, roaming data and minutes, plus all the data you need. Stream, share, and stay connected on the best LTE network when you switch to BTC. Visit a store to sign up today and get the iPhone 12 mini for just $199. Conditions apply.
Cash is what we have been using for generations, but it's no longer the only way to pay or receive money. That is great news for business owners. I'm Lasagna Mizik, Managing Director at RBC Royal Bank, encouraging you to find out how going cashless can benefit your business with faster transactions and settlements, better cash flow management, plus reduce risk of theft. Learn more at rbc.com/Caribbean/go cashless. RBC Royal Bank. Banking reimagined.
Basketball is back, baby, and so is NBA League Pass, only with Rev Trio. Sign up for Rev Trio today and enjoy NBA League Pass absolutely free, along with incredible prizes, including a brand new 50-inch smart TV, NBA gear, and more. With tons of prizes and gear, signing up for Trio is the best on- and off-court move this year. Just call 601-8992 or visit www.rev.bs/promotions/trio. Sign up for Rev Trio today and enjoy NBA League Pass absolutely free.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and carved body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
Roaming just got easier. Say hello to more with our new Liberty Prime plan. With more minutes, more texts, and more data to do the things you love right here at home and even when you travel. With the all-new Liberty Prime, Liberty Premium, and Liberty Elite, you've got one less worry. Roam again. Alive. Believe in best.
Believe in best.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Feeling myself is a felony. Jedi level sabotage. Voices in my head make up my entourage. Cause I'm a black belt when I'm beating up on myself. But I'm an expert at giving love to somebody else. I need myself and I don't see eye to eye. Need myself and I. Oh, why do I compare myself to everyone? And I always got my finger on the self-destruct. I wonder when I love me is enough. I wonder when I love me is enough. Why am I always looking for a ride or die? 'Cause life's the only ride I'm gonna have for love. After all the times I went.
We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Stephen Hanna on this Friday. It is Friday morning here. Oh boy. Yeah, it keeps happening. You know, this is, I don't know what's going on in the music industry. I apologize. I think we got it out. We didn't, but you could tell what was going on. I don't know what's going on. Yes, it's freedom of expression, but every single, and this song is rather, the lyrics are inspirational, right? But no, the curse words that are in every single thing now. And
There was a curse word in the
oh
song?
yeah, well, and we cut it out, but we could tell where she was going with it. But it's everything: love songs, happy songs, songs about being happy. Everything you gotta get it in there. Apparently, I don't know what's happened, but hey, that's
You live in a cursed world, Dwight.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay. All right. So let's move on. I know you all have a lot more to say, but, you know, it's going to be interesting to see what comes out of this. We will continue to follow this, the Shantytown situation, especially what happens in court next week. So there's going to be a lot more said on that in the days to come. Let's talk now about what's happening, more reaction to what the Prime Minister announced in the House this week about COVID and travel and the perks, people are calling it, for vaccinated individuals. And now the tourism minister is defending the removal of COVID testing for vaccinated travelers. As you know, if you're fully vaccinated, it doesn't mean that you cannot contract COVID. and it's unclear. There's still lots of studies being done on whether you can transmit it, and different vaccines have better rates at not at preventing transmission of COVID, but many are saying you still will need to test people, and you still will need to observe the protocols that have been put in place by so many countries around the world, including the masks and the hand washing and the social distancing, even if you are vaccinated. So the tourism minister defending some of the decisions that are being made. Take a listen to this report from our Kyle Joaquin.
That persons, go and get the test. They have to wait for the results. They have to upload it onto the site. They have to wait for us to respond to them. And all of this is causing a lot of consternation to travel.
Diagler says it'll serve as more of a perk for those looking to come to the Bahamas. However, some have expressed concern over the Prime Minister's announcement due to the fact that full vaccination doesn't mean you can't contract or spread the virus. Some observers fear the potential for another spike, similar to what prompted the second wave. However, Diagler explained the government's rationale.
Yes, you can get infected, but your ability to spread it on to someone else diminishes significantly when you get the vaccine. Now, that is what the science is showing, and that's why the CDC is saying once you get vaccinated, you're fairly free to travel, and that we are piggybacking off that science.
Speaking of the CDC, while Diagler says government is following that lead, it's not too happy about the decision to release a warning to avoid travel to the Bahamas due to high levels of COVID. Diagler says he hopes this move by government would soften the blow dealt by that warning list.
So, in answer to your question, do you think that will make the destination more attractive for persons to come and visit? Yes, I do. And I think that will counter the downgrade from level 3 to level 4.
Diagler not passing up on the opportunity to throw a bit of shade regarding that list, which includes Barbados, Jamaica, and even Egypt, calling out the irony of the U.S. not being included.
And, the country that is not in level 4, and clearly they're not going to put it in level 4, is the United States. I mean, they're far worse than we are. So if you're traveling from the United States to the Bahamas and you're looking at their level of COVID compared to our level of COVID, our country is way safer.
According to Diagler, tourism numbers have only gotten back to 25% of what they were pre-COVID, a sign that the rebound is sluggish. But with more and more Bahamians being vaccinated, he said he hopes things pick up rather soon.
I've spoken to a number of the hotels, and they are saying that they are, they're encouraged by their summer bookings. And so, I'm encouraged that the comeback is coming. But it's all relative.
Reporting for the Guardian News Network, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
Okay, I just want to say one thing before we get into most of what Diagler talked about there. Folks, I hear a lot of you saying these type things. That warning came from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, not the global Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, right? So why would they put themselves on? Please stop. Please stop. That's up to you.
It didn't come from the world?
Right. No, it came from the U.S. So they're looking out for their people. Stop it now. You can't hate the people for that. Put out your own list. Put out your own list. And then you've done that before. You have done that before.
We're not going to put out a list.
Oh,
We're going to talk about things that are certain will never happen.
So whose problem is that? Why wouldn't you? I mean, they have advised people not to travel, but they're not very strenuous and vigorous with it. It's like,
them or us?
No, that's what I'm saying, us. We haven't really, but I mean, we've told people that if you don't have to travel, don't travel. Of course,
right. You need to worry about places like Britain are the ones where it's like they serious about that. They literally if you at the airport and they're like, well, why are you leaving the country? And the people and you cannot give them a good explanation like I need a specific type of heart surgery elsewhere. They will send you home and fine you.
Yeah.
They're waiting for you at the airport. So it's like that. That's the people who their airport was shut down for months, right? So that's serious stuff or whatever. But people saying don't travel. Listen, I'm sure Palestine has a booming American tourism industry. at this point in time in the world, because you can't stop tourists from going where they want to go. And sometimes when you tell them don't go someplace, they'll be like, well, why not?
And they haven't done
more
that,
interesting.
though. And that's the thing. It's not a ban. It's an advisory. It's an advisory. Right. It's like, hey, this is going on as long as you know. Don't say we didn't warn you if you go there and catch COVID. And that's well within their conversation. I don't understand.
Because I think it all goes back to like the whole thing where we are falling for exactly what it is. The distraction of, instead of asking, because I'm sure somebody asked him the question, hey, I heard that we no longer testing tourists if they've been vaccinated, but can't you still like transmit COVID even if you have like the vaccine? Like, right. Or that complicated question. And it's like, I'm worried about this health and safety of persons living in the country who may not have had the vaccine yet or refuse to take the vaccine. And rather than answer that question, we somehow ended up on the CDC.
Yeah.
Which is not that's nothing. It doesn't matter. Once again, there's a CDC. People don't even listen to the CDC in America. Once again, we're talking about a group of people that we think have more power than they actually do.
Yes. Okay. All right,
I'm just saying.
Yes.
The CDC was like, hey, don't drink bleach. And there were still people calling into the poison control hotline to be like, somebody in my family drank some bleach. What should I do? So it's like,
maybe.
It's not like they're listening to the CDC.
Maybe they didn't hear the broadcast. But sure, I get your point.
We're treating certain things like they're the serious issue, but I think the more serious issue is just we want to make sure that the government is looking out for the people who sent them to govern. We are your number one priority.
Exactly.
Bahamians are your number one priority.
And
what are you doing for the health and safety of Bahamians?
And it rarely seems to be the case here. At least we take a back seat to everybody else here from our own people, our own country, our own government. But hey, all right, so let's talk about what he was asked about when he defending this removal testing for vaccinated travelers. And that's everybody, domestic travel and international travel as well. People have concerns. Doctors are saying that as well. The Consultant Physician Staff Association President Dr. Sabrika Pinder-Butler saying that the policy exempting fully vaccinated individuals who are traveling to the Bahamas from mandatory RT-PCR COVID-19 testing prior to arrival is unwise and puts the country at risk for another surge in cases. Unwise. So, what are we to do? People say that will be a great thing. We heard some tourists reacting to it, some Bahamians reacting to it, saying that, finally I won't have to pay all that money for the tests. This is going to be great. I can see my family. I can go and visit my home island and not be broke in the process. But what are we opening the door to if we do this? Let's get your views. 323-6232. 325-4316, 325-4259. Text us, tweet us, Facebook us, 422-4796. All right, let's take this call. Good morning, call. You're on the air.
Morning.
Hi, good morning.
How you doing, Dwight?
Doing well.
Steven?
Hey, what's up?
This is Luby.
Hi, good morning.
Yeah, I called because Stephen made an interesting point just a few minutes ago, stating that the government has a responsibility to protect those that, basically put them in the position of the Bahamian citizens. And as I thought about that point, I thought about the Bahamians who are stranded in Haiti at the moment, and the reason the government gave for essentially putting the travel ban on Haiti, which caused there to be Bahamians and other legal residents to be stranded there. And the reason they gave is that Haiti doesn't currently have a vaccination or a vaccine program going on, so there's a travel ban. But I would think, though, that a Bahamian citizen, if the Bahamas has a vaccine program, then we should be doing all that we can to ensure that our citizens are not stuck in countries where there isn't a vaccine program going on, so that they can come home and be vaccinated or get away from whatever is happening in that country. So the reason given the other day by the government, I found it very interesting, and I think it caused there to be so many more questions to be asked. Again, on top of that, if you guys remember, about 2 years ago, we changed our policies as it relates to Haitian nationals obtaining a Bahamian visa, right? And so with that in mind, the flights that would be coming from Haiti would be filled with Bahamians and other legal residents of the Bahamas. And I would think that their home country or their resident country is responsible or would be the country in which they should be vaccinated. So I understand the tourist part of it. We don't want new Haitians coming over, and so we got the travel ban. But what about everybody else? The legal residents and the Bahamian citizens. Where are they to be vaccinated? Isn't it in their home countries?
From what you understand, Louis, how many Bahamians do you think are stranded in Haiti as a result of this policy?
I don't know. I'm not going to guesstimate, but guess what? One is too much. We've received or we've heard the news stories of one. I know of one personally who was stranded. So again, we're responsible for every single Bahamian. And even if it is just that one, then let us make the necessary preparations to get that one Bahamian back home. But beyond the one citizen, what about the permanent resident holder? What about the person on the work permit who are all still legal residents of the Bahamas? If there's no vaccine program going on in Haiti, but they're legal residents and literally live here in the Bahamas, then I would think that this is where they should be vaccinated. You're not going to send me to Canada to be vaccinated, eh? So right. I guess that is very interesting, and I wanted to add that in there. We ban travel, we ban and restrict our own citizens from returning home, and we cite the reason being the lack of a vaccine program in the country where they're stuck. Just thought I'd add that in there.
Yeah, interesting. Wow.
All right.
Thank you very much.
How long have they been stuck?
It's been a few months now.
Oh, well, no, something we should at least have a plan of action of some sort.
Wow. All right, let's read through these messages here. I know a Bahamian living in Central Florida. His wife got vaccinated early because she works in healthcare. After full vaccination, she got COVID and gave it to her husband, who had not yet qualified to get the vaccination. This is facts, not speculation. I'm sure that we are hearing stories like that all the time. Yeah. Okay. If fully vaccinated people may not need negative COVID-19 tests to travel, as tests may not distinguish the infection, would temperature checks suffice? Absolutely not. What?
Temperature checks don't work
They
now.
don't do. No, it's not doing a thing. This one here, Dwight and Stephen, only because I don't cuss, I would have told the CDC, the government has to do what's in the best interest of Bahamians. They didn't say why. The other C. Okay. Well, again, they're doing what's in the best interest of their citizens. That's the U.S. Centers for Disease Control. Many other countries have their own CDCs, and they do what's best for their countries.
We just don't listen to them.
Right? And that's what they do. That's what they do. You can't hate them for trying to warn their citizens. There wasn't a ban. They're not banning travel. There's only one place we've heard doing that, as Luby just mentioned it. Right? But no ban, just a warning. Hey, COVID numbers are going up there. Be careful. All right. Another one says, I would put forth that if you get the vaccine, then only get the rapid antigen test if you want to travel. It's only $16. Well, I think you're still going to need to take a rapid antigen test to get back to the U.S., right? No matter what. So that's their rule. Another one, COVID isn't going anywhere. Therefore, I think it was a good initiative for people who have been fully vaccinated. The reality is, if these people who people cannot travel without a test, they will never be able to do so. What? Okay.
I have no idea.
I think you get what they're saying. Another one here. Dwight, the record reflects that people received fraudulent PCR tests. It is possible for one to receive fraudulent vaccine. Is it really?
I think they mean like, when they say fraudulent tests, do they mean that the tests weren't real tests or the people faked the tests?
Okay.
Because I know people
let's not follow them down
courts
the
for
road.
that.
There are people who intentionally did some things. I don't know if people went to some weird shady pharmacy and got a test that wasn't valid. There's a list of the authorized people or recommended people you should get your test from if you're not here. But now you want to include something in here. That's why we apparently rejected private companies who wanted to bring in the vaccine, right? So maybe you could control that better, because crazy things can happen if you open it up. Crazy things can happen. Someone says, advise foreigners not to travel to the United States. What? The CDC should point the fingers at themselves as well. Hey, the U.S. is always talking about which states are seeing surging numbers. They're always doing it, right? The media covers it. They know. But
Florida and
don't be
Georgia.
mad. Don't be mad at them. That's what I don't see what the point is of that. They're doing what they're supposed to do.
It's fine. Continue to scream at the air, because in reality, I don't think that anybody who is upset about it is going to remain upset about it for 2 weeks. They're going to be upset about it for 10 seconds, and then 2 weekends from now, they're going to be totally over it, because it's like, it isn't a real thing.
Yeah. A few more messages as we...
The American telling us what to talk about or not to talk about.
Yeah. A few more messages as we go to the break. Someone says here, anyone traveling during these COVID times has been warned to expect last-minute changes, and if you find yourself stuck, you were warned by the government and governments around the world. Oh, boy. Another one here. Dwight...
Yeah, but not indefinitely. Come on now.
Dwight, Bahamians are stuck right now in Canada, right now and can't get out because they have no U.S. visa. I know 5 people who had to send money to their relatives this week because they ran out of money. These are unfortunate times all around, just not for certain people. I don't agree with making 2 classes of citizens in the Bahamas, those that vaccinate and can do everything, and those that don't are restricted. That is a really slippery slope. Watch us go down the rabbit hole and never come out. This is the Bahamas. You will soon have people selling vaccination certificates, and they will be able to travel everywhere and infect everyone. We should provide antigen testing free at all times. Yeah, we're still going to need the testing. There's no way around that. That is clear.
And the fact that Bahamians are inside Canada is also concerning. Like, the fact that Bahamians are stuck anywhere is concerning.
Yeah.
And once again, I understand that immediately nothing might be able to happen, but when we start getting on months, it just feels like we're just like, well, it'll figure itself out.
All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, televised political debates. Is this the start of something that's going to stick around for a while? We'll see. We're going to talk about that after the break. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Jackie's a hard worker with a steady income, but she has a personal loan and multiple credit cards to pay off. To keep her account current, Jackie opted for a loan from Fidelity Bank to consolidate her debt into one monthly payment and earn interest on a built-in savings account. Be like Jackie. Call 356-7764 to book a complimentary financial coaching session. Fidelity also offers virtual assistance. Fidelity, we're good for you.
The Department of Environmental Health Services and the Ministry of Environment is proud to present the Enviro Bahamas app, an app designed to cut down on the wait time of non-collection, swift removal of hazardous items, old furniture, appliances, and the eyesore of community pileup. Skip the call-in hotlines. Get straight to the source. Search Enviro Bahamas in the Google Play Store. Get rid of the crap. Download the app today.
Is your heart failing you? Find out.
Join Cleveland Clinic Florida and Doctors Hospital on Tuesday, April the 27th at 6 p.m. for a free webinar on all things heart. Hear from leading experts on cardiovascular disease, Dr. Alejandro Mezclas of Doctors Hospital and Dr. Howard Bush of Cleveland Clinic Florida. Don't let your heart miss this beat. Visit us online at events.dpa-media.com or call 394-0677.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
We just talk. Can we just talk? Talk about where we're going before we get lost. Let me our thoughts. Can't get what we know without knowing. I've never felt like this before. I apologize if I'm moving too far. Can we just talk? Can we just talk? Figure out where we're growing. Yeah.
We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Stephen Hanna, changing gears now, talking about political debates. People have been calling for those here in the Bahamas for a long time, and with only a few exceptions, they have not been taking place here. But one group is hoping to change that. The University of the Bahamas partnering with Verizon Media to bring some televised debates beginning next month. Here to tell us all about it, welcome back our good friend from the University of the Bahamas, Dr. Chris Curry. Chris Curry, good morning.
Morning, Dwight. Morning, Stephen. It's great to be on your show once again.
Yes, always a pleasure, always a pleasure. All right, so as you know, people have been calling for national debates, televised debates for quite a while. What led to this partnership and why now for UB and Verizon Media?
Well, we realize, first of all, there's a real craving and desire among the Bahamian citizenry for such a debate. I think you said that. And what Verizon thought was that we should do this as a partnership. We've signed already an MOU, and we're making sure that we have full coverage for the 4 debates that we are planning to launch on May 4th. That's less than 2 weeks away. We think that we're moving beyond simply doing rallies. That's part of our ingrained political culture. You go to a rally, you hear loud music, you get a little bit of preaching, you get some good food, you get a T-shirt, maybe some pom-poms, some paraphernalia. But you really don't get to delve into the actual issues at a rally, in my opinion. You're not going to hear policy, platform, manifesto in the details. So University of the Bahamas being our premier tertiary institution, and universities in general are spaces for rigorous thinking, critical thinking, and divergent thinking. And so we're the right place for a debate, and we're doing it at the right time. I think we've matured as a country to the point where we can expect more from our politicians.
All right. So how did it, tell us about the process and who's involved now and how this will all work.
Right. So we've struck a committee. We've been working for about 6 weeks now to put this all together. And so what we've devised is 4 thematic debates. The first one will be on May 4th, which is going to be based on youth issues. We feel that that's really important to start with the youth. And so we're going to be looking at thematic questions related to brain drain, looking at things like the increase or the rate of youth incarceration. We're going to look at the issue of gang violence, and we're going to be looking at where the quiet revolution has gone. Have we lost our way, so to speak? Those are kind of youth-based questions, and those questions are going to be scripted and sent to the parties. And then we're also going to have what we call audience-generated questions as well. So we're going to have focus groups throughout the Bahamas, strategically located, where we're also going to get these audience-generated questions around youth issues as well. So we're doing a balance, Stephen and Dwight, where we have scripted questions where the parties can prepare in advance, but we also have audience-generated questions where they have to think on their feet and answer the questions spontaneously.
And so each one's going to be like that, where there'll be a certain theme, as you say, for
Right.
each
So,
debate.
so we envision the second debate will be on the economy. Like, that's to me, just personally, I feel that's like the number one issue outside of health and COVID-19 that you'll see coming out in the general elections, and all the parties will be talking about how to diversify the economy, how do we really set our feet towards family island development, how do we move away from a model that really hasn't been working in recent years, the Stafford Sands model. So the economy is going to probably be the second debate. And then the third debate, we're going to be looking at health, okay? And we may add environment, but probably health is a standalone issue. Looking at vaccination strategies and planning, looking at the constitutionality and legality of mandatory vaccines for employees, looking at the third wave and what we need to do moving forward. So that's the third debate, and that's going to be held on June 3rd. The fourth debate, which will be on June 15th, is going to be looking at constitutional reform and the law. Everything from looking at the Freedom of Information Act, Independent Boundaries Commission, whether we need to be a republic, whether we really need to establish local government in Providence. All of these are sort of issues that we've seen banded around lately amongst different parties. So the themes are going to carry forward for the four debates. And we've invited all parties, all registered parties, to participate in all four debates.
So I need to ask a question then. Who has said that they are coming and they are going to participate?
Well, we actually, and I said 7, it's actually 8 parties that are going to be participating. All of the parties in principle have agreed. We're actually at the stage now today where we're actually nailing down the actual debaters for the first debate. And we're very close.
That's going to be my second question.
Yeah, we're actually very close to getting all 8 of the actual debaters for the first one on May 4th. So yeah, all parties have, shown interest, have confirmed their participation in principle, but we're now nailing down the actual participants.
Have we gotten confirmation from the leaders of the 2 major parties?
So the 2 major parties, we have confirmation from the leader of the opposition. The leader of our government, the Right Honorable Dr. Hubert Minnis, has essentially said he won't debate Brave Davis because they debate in Parliament all the time.
Wow.
But that's not to say that the FNM won't participate in the debates. He can easily send someone else. But we're still working towards seeing him on the debate platform at UB.
Okay.
And the event will be in the Performing Arts Center. So there's still some negotiation with him particularly debating.
All right, we're going to pick that up.
Is generally
let's
agreed in principle.
All right, we're going to pick this up on the other side. We have a whole lot of questions for you, Chris Curry. Stay with us after news.
Removal of testing for fully vaccinated travelers, claiming it should help to make up for that new CDC warning against travel to this country. Kyle Joaquin reports.
That person's go and get the test. They have to wait for the results. They have to upload it onto the site. They have to wait for us to respond to them. And all of this is causing a lot of consternation to travel.
Diagler says it'll serve as more of a perk for those looking to come to the Bahamas. However, some have expressed concern over the Prime Minister's announcement due to the fact that full vaccination doesn't mean you can't contract or spread the virus. Some observers fear the potential for another spike, similar to what prompted the second wave. However, Diagler explained the government's rationale.
Yes, you can get infected, but your ability to spread it on to someone else diminishes significantly when you get the vaccine. Now, that is what the science is showing, and that's why the CDC is saying once you get vaccinated, you're fairly free to travel, and that we are piggybacking off that science.
Speaking of the CDC, while Diagler says government is following that lead, it's not too happy about the decision to release a warning to avoid travel to the Bahamas due to high levels of COVID. Diagler says he hopes this move by government would soften the blow dealt by that warning list.
So, in answer to your question, do you think that will make the destination more attractive for persons to come and visit? Yes, I do. And I think that will counter the downgrade from level 3 to level 4.
Diagler not passing up on the opportunity to throw a bit of shade regarding that list, which includes Barbados, Jamaica, and even Egypt, calling out the irony of the U.S. not being included.
And, the country that is not in level 4, and clearly they're not going to put it in level 4, is the United States. I mean, they're far worse than we are. So if you're traveling from the United States to the Bahamas and you're looking at their level of COVID compared to our level of COVID, our country is way safer.
According to Diaghilev, tourism numbers have only gotten back to 25% of what they were pre-COVID, a sign that the rebound is sluggish. But with more and more Bahamians being vaccinated, he said he hopes things pick up rather soon.
I've spoken to a number of the hotels, and they are saying that they are, they're encouraged by their summer bookings. And so, I'm encouraged that the comeback is coming. But it's all relative.
Reporting for the Guardian News Network, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
Well, former Minister for Health Dr. Dwight Sands shares the concern that fully vaccinated persons still pose the threat of contributing to the virus's spread. Bethany McDermott has more.
While he acknowledged that fully vaccinated individuals could still pose a threat to the general public, former Health Minister Dr. Dwight Sands shied away from disclosing whether he thought the controversial decision to exempt them from testing requirements is a good idea.
I am very much aware of the controversy, and there are different utterances that you will hear from different places. And I'm not going to comment on my particular views as to whether this is likely to be the ideal or best approach to move forward.
He did, however, admit that there is still a risk with fully vaccinated people, given the fact that fully vaccinated people can still contract COVID-19 even though the likelihood is low.
Persons who have been vaccinated can still get COVID, particularly from variants. And so as we look at this ever-evolving field, while vaccination is absolutely necessary, I believe, 2 shots is not going to be 2 shots and done.
His comments shadow those of Pfizer CEO Albert Bourla, who said a third COVID-19 vaccine dose will likely be needed within 12 months of vaccination. Dr. Sands added that it's not irrational to begin informing residents that the best practice of 2 shots may change in the future, even eventually becoming an annual shot.
And I think it is not unreasonable for us to begin to let people know that best practices now say 2 shots, but it's probably going to be 3 shots and possibly an annual shot moving forward.
On Wednesday, the Prime Minister announced a number of privileges for fully vaccinated visitors and Bahamians. For instance, fully vaccinated travelers can traverse the islands immediately after their second shot without having to adhere to testing requirements. Additionally, indoor dining can resume for fully vaccinated people. Dr. Sands said hopefully the privileges would encourage Bahamians to get vaccinated.
And if the goal is to get people to take the vaccine, and you want to sweeten the pie or sweeten the pot, as it were, then this is one form of inducement.
Reporting for the Guardian News Network, I'm Bethany McDermott.
Well, phase 2 of that demolition exercise underway in the farm shantytown is set to begin today. 45 incomplete and unoccupied buildings became the first to be demolished yesterday as government began removing unregulated structures from that community. As residents looked on, bulldozers moved in, making easy work of dismantling homes which looked mainly made of wood. It's the kind of weak structures which officials with public works fear would not hold up to another hurricane like Dorian and could result in the loss of more lives in the future. In a press statement, the Ministry of Public Works said government remains firm in its resolve to ensure that the health hazards and hazardous conditions that unregulated communities foster are dealt with decisively and effectively. Rise Bahamas legal director, attorney Fred Smith, charged it was unfortunate that government would create another humanitarian crisis on that island where hundreds lost homes during Hurricane Dorian and when government officials concede there is a housing shortage on the island of Abaco. He argued government should wait for the courts to decide the fate of such communities before moving forward with any demolition. In other news, police say they have yet to make any arrests connected to the shocking murders of 6 men along Jerome Avenue last week. They're still appealing for anyone with information about that crime to come forward. Hundreds gathered in Kemp Road this week for a candlelight vigil to remember those who died. Jared Higgs has said.
Among the hundreds gathered in Kemp Road was the family of 31-year-old Kendall Lord. Lord is one of the 6 men who was killed shortly after they were released from police custody last Thursday. His mother, Joyce Sayers, says he was loved.
He had a good heart, and he's loved by all of us. All of us love him. Everybody come in contact with him, they love him.
A 19-year-old woman and the 2-year-old daughter of one of the men were also shot. Lord's mother says she was home when she got the news.
I miss him. I'm sorry about what happened, and the way it happened. I wasn't expecting it to happen like that.
Yeah, so let's pray for the girlfriends and the wives. Because trust me, nothing like when you already make up your life that despite how bad this person was, just who you love and just who you want to be with.
During the candlelight vigil held in Kemp Road under heavy police presence, family, neighbors, and activists prayed for the victims' families. Lord left behind 2 young daughters, 7-year-old Heaven Johnson and 5-year-old Shaquelle. His oldest daughter spoke about the times she spent with her dad.
What are you doing with them?
I like going out with him and I like doing stuff with him, like going in the park with him.
What did you guys used to do on the park?
We used to play and sometimes we used to go together.
The man's sister, Tiska Sands, described her brother as annoying but affectionate.
He's just a nag. We call him a nag. He's everyone's nag, but in a good way.
Sands says her brother wasn't perfect.
Just like everyone else there falls, but he had a pure heart, and that's what they're gonna miss most. Because I always crack a joke with him, and I say, every time I see you crying for the dead. When someone dead, he just there and he just bawling and crying, and here it is now. We are here crying for him.
Reporting for the Guardian News Network, I'm Jared Higgs.
Well, after what they described as a thorough investigation, immigration officials now say they have determined there is no substance to an allegation of misconduct against one of their male officers accused of sexually assaulting a female migrant allegedly at a department safe house. In a statement, the department says the female migrant, the subject of the alleged inappropriate conduct, has made no complaint of and denies the occurrence of any inappropriate conduct. They added that she now insists on her immediate repatriation. We're told that investigation is now closed and that there will be no further comment on the matter. That investigation was headed by the newly appointed Assistant Director of Immigration with responsibility for corruption, complaints, and intelligence, and was assisted by police officers with a sexual offense. Stay with us, there's more news after.
Gran, it was good to see you, but we've got to get home.
Yep, we've got to let the dog out.
Speaking of dogs, you won't believe who I saw the other day.
Who?
Honey.
Remember Anton, Jeanette's oldest boy, the one with the dogs?
With local claims managers, we pay your motor claims fast. We're like a goodbye at your granny's that doesn't take 30 minutes.
We really got to get going.
So soon?
CG Atlantic Agents. Insurance, health, pensions, life. Good like that. Nassau Insurance Brokers and Agents Limited, trading as CG Atlantic Agents.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
At Master Technicians, we have what your family traditions need, starting with industry-best refrigerators, ranges, and ovens. We also carry Whirlpool washer and dryers, dishwashers and freezers, leading KitchenAid countertop appliances, blenders, microwaves, juicers, kettles, and KitchenAid stand mixers. We even do free delivery in New Providence or to the boat of your choice. Whether you're doing the laundry, creating new memories in the kitchen, or spending family time in front of the television, Master Technicians Limited, keeping family traditions alive for more than 50 years.
Following a recipe or creating something new, find your ingredients at Super Value and Quality Supermarkets. Devon corned beef, 12-ounce can, $2.39. Best Yet macaroni and cheese, 7 1/4-ounce box, 2 for $1.50. Rainbow tuna, 5-ounce can, 69 cents. Sweet cantaloupes, $1.99 each. Center cut pork chops, $2.59 per pound. Open Monday through Saturdays, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Double stamps on Sundays. Super Value and Quality Supermarkets.
Peter the peanut peddler busted up in sunrise that day and start hollering, "Airy nuts! Airy nuts!" So Bullock say, when your nuts that airy, just need one injection in your midsection and that over. Peter say, "Rank!" Today I got dark brown, light brown, light brown, and white. See him here. Well, as usual, Miss Wallace only did hear the last part of our conversation and get confused right up. She say, "We don't do no colorization and no nuts here. This a watch shop. Carry that freshness someplace else." And now Peter the peanut peddler, he in charge of peanut peddling for the whole of Montrose Avenue.
Sun Isles Watch and Clock, number 112 Montrose Avenue. Watch and clock sales and repairs, and sometimes peanuts too.
How the exercise going?
Not too good.
What happened?
Well, you know Mr. Junior make me one treadmill.
Make?
You know how he like tinker. Anyhow, he built this treadmill and he hook it up to one of them clothesline, which you could spin. You know the kind what I mean?
You made the one what look like the upside down umbrella?
That's the one. He figure that since I was working out, I just power up one of them clothesline. So he hook it up direct to the treadmill.
Oh, so whilst you walking, clothes spinning. Makes sense to me.
Makes sense to you, eh? You know how heavy wet clothes is? But anyhow, I right there struggling to get the treadmill going. Slow. She start to go now. The treadmill going and the clothes spinning. This time now I building up speed. I running now. I running. The clothes spinning. Fast now.
You're flying now.
Yes, and so was the clothes. You would have thought he had enough sense to screw the thing down, eh?
The clothes going?
I see where they lying yet.
So what you gonna do?
Go back to Superwash where I should have gone in the first beginning.
Superwash. They washes your presses and cleans you 24/7.
If you're a business owner, get ready because the digital transformation is here. As a business owner, you now face the choice between innovation and extinction, but you don't have to get left behind. Join the click with Cable Bahamas Business Solutions and transform your office to get the competitive advantage. With innovative solutions like our fixed and mobile services, hosted PBX, Bahamas Cloud, and more, you can redefine your business. For more information on how you can join the click, contact the experts at Business Solutions at cablebahamas.com.
Welcome back. Bahamas Air's Managing Director Tracy Cooper believes that government's new travel policy for fully vaccinated persons will help the Bahamas' position as a tourist destination. Gillian Gray has that.
The new relaxed restrictions for vaccinated travelers comes as welcome news to Bahamas Air Managing Director Tracy Cooper, who says the move is something they've been advocating for a while.
It's something that us in the aviation industry, as well as hospitality, has been asking for review. It is something that will, we believe, help the Bahamas on its position as a tourism destination. And one of the things that we were a bit afraid of is that other countries and other tourism destinations had already started to adapt this policy. And it would have left the Bahamas at a disadvantage. So this is something that we're really pleased to see.
As of May 1st, fully vaccinated persons coming to the Bahamas from international destinations won't have to meet the PCR testing requirement to enter the country. The same will go for Bahamians 2 weeks after they take their second shot of the AstraZeneca vaccine. They'll be able to move from island to island without a PCR test. Cooper says the move eases the mind of travelers and saves them money.
And you don't have to worry about those protocols that were in place before. It lends to you having more dollars in your pocket and the travel experience being much less convoluted. So I'm hoping that this position taken will also encourage others to take the vaccine.
Bahamas Air has just begun to recoup some of the thousands it's lost because of the pandemic. As Cooper says, people are now coming out of a COVID-induced bubble to travel again.
Growing of passengers getting on the aircraft, both domestically and international. And we believe that, the world is starting to get back to some degree of normalcy. We can't stay in a COVID kind of induced environment forever. So we're starting to see where persons are getting out and starting to travel a bit more. This is encouraging, and with the declaration from the Prime Minister yesterday, we think that this will only improve the situation.
As he's already taken his first shot of the AstraZeneca vaccine, Cooper says he's encouraging everyone to get vaccinated, and this includes his employees.
Being vaccinated, and are you going to sit around and just, kind of keep the fingers crossed and hope nothing happens to you? So I know there's some hesitancies by others not to take the vaccine, but the amount of problems that this COVID-19 has caused is far worse than taking them.
For the Guardian News Network, I'm Gillian Gray.
That's going to do it for local news. Stay with us. AP News is next.
I bank wherever I want thanks to Scotia Online and Mobile. I bank from my garden. I bank from my living room. I also bank from my kitchen. No need to wait in line. Now when I bank with Scotia, I bank on my own time. Seniors, you too can bank your way any time of day without ever going into a branch. Find out more. To get started, visit bs.scotiabank.com/digital seniors.
Give me my pizza right away. Gotta move quick, no time to wait. No long lines inside the place. Little Caesars, I love the taste. Hot and ready. Just come now, you don't have to call, now you don't have to wait. Hot and ready. Large pepperoni, $7.99 every day. Hot and ready. Oh, yeah. Straight out the oven and freshly made. Hot and ready. Little Caesars is hot and ready. Little Caesars is. Get yours now at Oaksfield, Carmichael Road, and now East Street South, Pineapple Plaza.
Pizza, pizza. Don't wait for disaster to strike. This hurricane season, be ready. Protect your home with an affordable and comprehensive home insurance policy from Shield Insurance. You can't control what nature blows your way, but with Shield Insurance, you can rest easy as you ride out the storm. Protect your largest and most valuable investment. Don't take a chance. Put your home in our hands.
Shield Insurance agents and brokers in Nassau, call 356-7202 or Freeport 352-5945.
Privacy and security are two things that cannot be taken for granted these days. If somebody ain't listening in on your phone, they're looking at you through your TV. Finna say he can't protect you from those things, but he can help you protect your house and give you a little privacy while you sit on the body yoke. When it come to closing the yard in, ain't nobody got the fence with pin the gut from 3-foot galvanized to a 10-foot vinyl coated chain link. That's what you need if you live by the sea or if you're building a tennis court. Pinda also stocks pipe for that fencing in weights ranging from 2 to Schedule 40. Pinda can protect you from cyberspace, but he got your backyard under lock. Pinda Enterprises on Prince Charles Drive.
When I had got prostate cancer, my family didn't know if I was going to live. At Cancer Treatment Centers of America, within days, I got an appointment. They presented me with treatment options, and we set up a robotic prostatectomy. When my scans came back, there are no signs of cancer. They don't see you as a number, they see you as a part of the family. I'm going on with my life. That's a real gift.
Call us at Cancer Treatment Centers of America.
At Apex Award Signs and Engraving, the name says it all. The country's trusted name for trophies, plaques, corporate seals, rubber stamps, badges, bumper stickers, traffic and street signs, keychains, t-shirts, interior signs, restaurant menus, and so much more. Apex Award Signs and Engraving, number 128 Mount Royal Avenue in Wilton Street. Open 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, and 9 to 1 on Saturdays. Visit the website at apexawardsbahamas.com. Apex Award Signs and Engraving, number 1 in the Bahamas.
This traffic report brought to you by Shield Insurance.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. Also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us 422-4796. And now at 8:20, time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. We've got a weak frontal boundary approaching the extreme northwest Bahamas. That's going to merge with a stationary front that's already across the northwestern islands. And all of this is going to help to generate some unsettled weather across portions of the northwest and central Bahamas today. Boaters in the northwest and central Bahamas should again be on alert due to the high risk of water spouts or tornado activity today. Your forecast for the northwest and central Bahamas today: partly cloudy, breezy, and warm with isolated showers and thunderstorms mainly near the frontal boundaries through tonight. The smallcraft caution is in effect for the northwest Bahamas. Expect gusty winds and higher seas in heavy showers and thunderstorms. For the southeast Bahamas today, variably cloudy and warm with a few stray showers possible through tonight. 77 degrees right now in Nassau. Look for highs getting up to around 84 Fahrenheit, 29 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 73 Fahrenheit, 23 Celsius. In your extended outlook, that frontal boundary is expected to slowly dissipate by tomorrow, while high pressure will briefly build across the islands through Sunday. So for tomorrow, Saturday, look for variably cloudy and breezy conditions with a few isolated showers. Sunday, partly cloudy and hot with a few isolated showers, mainly across the northwest Bahamas. That's your morning blend weather check, brought to you by Bahamas First. What's first for you comes first for us. (8:22) and time for another check of your traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank. Another busy commute for you in your real-time traffic this morning. The usual hot spots are very hot this morning. Samara Butler Highway, heavy traffic in the northbound lanes from well south of Fire Trail this morning, all the way up to Tonique Williams-Darling Highway. It's going to be backed up for you on Fire Trail as well, eastbound towards Samara Butler Highway at this hour. Elsewhere, Gladstone Road looking a little bit better for you, but still very busy northbound as you get closer to JFK Drive. Blue Hill Road northbound also busy this morning from south of Carmichael Road up to especially north of Soldier Road as you continue on to Independence Drive. The northbound lanes congested this morning. Independence Drive also backed up westbound heading towards that roundabout with Blue Hill Road. Carmichael Road seeing heavy traffic building eastbound towards Blue Hill Road at this hour as well. And Soldier Road looking messy for you. Eastbound heading towards Windsor Place especially, and eastbound heading towards East Street at this hour. Further east, we are seeing Eastern Road with pockets of heavy traffic westbound and pockets along Prince Charles Drive, especially as you approach the major intersections like Fox Hill Road, which is seeing heavy traffic northbound heading towards that intersection. And then further west along Prince Charles as you get closer to Beatrice Avenue and Soldier Road. Bernard Road also busy. You've got a number of schools in that area, and you're going to be seeing traffic in both directions, west and eastbound this morning. Elsewhere, Soldier Road northbound heading towards Bernard Road, Village Road, and Wolf Road, that intersection, and building traffic along Marathon Road at this hour as well. Those are your hottest spots. It's real-time traffic and your morning blend traffic alert, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank.
You make me feel alive. You make me lose control. The way you play it cool. For you I break all my rules. High up in the sky I'm falling, burning through the atmosphere. Yeah, you light up everything surrounding. Like a comet you struck my world. Tell me what you're thinking. Am I overthinking this way too much? Maybe you're the reason. The reason I haven't given up. Tell me what you're thinking. Tell me what you're thinking.
We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Stephen Hanna. We are talking about televised political debates. We've got a series of them beginning next month. UB and Verizon Media putting them on. Dr. Chris Curry is with us talking about it. Before the break, you said that the Prime Minister didn't give you a firm answer, or has he come out and said he is not taking part in the debates at all?
Well, I would say we're still in negotiations. What we're saying, though, is the first 4 debates are thematically based. And what we would expect is for the parties 1 through 8 would send their best representative who could speak as an expert on the thematic topic. So the youth debate coming up on May 4th, which is the first one, I would anticipate that you would have a younger candidate, or in the case of the 2 major parties, they may decide to send someone from the Young Liberals or from the Torchbearers Associations, right? But as we progress through the debates for the second one on the economy, you might find you have your deputy leader for the PLP and whoever is the expert in the Free National Movement on the economy. Is that the Prime Minister, or is that their deputy leader, Desmond Bannister, or is it someone else? In other words, we would anticipate some of the big heavy hitters from the parties would come to the debate based on the theme for that particular debate. And so eventually you would see shadow cabinet ministers in the opposition coming to the debate, and you would have current cabinet members coming to the debate on the government side. And then the other parties, third parties, would send the persons that they would anticipate would best be able to speak on the issues from each thematic debate.
So no constituency debates. You won't.
Well, we have 4 thematic debates, and we did this in 2017, but we weren't so successful in the sense that we didn't have we didn't generate the national attention that we wanted, number one. And number two, we were doing polling, but we never had a sizable cohort or sample size that we could release to the public. That's the other thing about this debate that's so important, is the sampling and the polling that we're going to be doing. So having said that, we may decide to have a 5th debate or 6 where we do constituency-based debates. I see some people are clamoring for that. But for now, the 4 thematic debates are based on national issues that we see are really important to the general elections that hasn't been announced, but is forthcoming, I'm certain. And so we're going to go with that first.
All right. So what do you say to people who say that our system is not the best for the type of debate that you're hoping to do, based on ideas, and that because of the constituency system, I may be saddled with a completely ridiculous candidate who's not good with debates or has no ideas at all, but I liked what I heard the party say, so I'm going to elect this candidate who I know is going to be lousy. But because I heard somebody else speak what I like, I'm going to have to vote for that. Does this help the situation or hurt the situation? Do we even need to have debates when we have a system like the one that we have?
Right. So, of course, the Westminster system is different than what we have seen in the United States, where when you have a presidential election, you're basically looking at the person you are able to vote into office, essentially, right? But in our system, you're not voting for the prime minister unless you happen to be in Killarney or Cat Island. Or one of the other constituencies like Carmichael, if you're going for the leader of the DNA or others. I mean, I don't have to go down the list of all 8 parties where the leaders are located. But the point is, we don't have that sort of direct presidential election system. So the point here is, indeed, there is issues with a debate format as we have it in terms of not hearing from your actual candidate in the constituency. But at the same time, we know the party politics in the Bahamas is such that most of the time you're voting for the party and the brand name and not so much the candidate. You may have a weak candidate in your area, but you might be aligned with the party. So again, this is why this is so important. We have 8 parties that are signed on to a debate that are going to be on a single platform at the university debating national issues. And so I think there's great value in that.
So let me ask you the question. I hear you say there's some polling involved. At the end of each debate, are you going to, take a poll to say who the audience may have found the most convincing or their position based on what they heard that night? Will that type of information be gathered? Will that be released per episode versus at the end of it?
Unequivocally, absolutely. Let me just explain how we're doing polling, because that's a really great point that you're making, Stephen. We're going to have pre-event polling, meaning we're going to find out from people, who do you like going into the debate? Who do you think is the strongest debater? Because, we're going to have flyers out so people will know exactly who's debating. Right. And then we're going to do real-time live polling, meaning while they're actually on stage debating, we're also going to be polling who's actually doing better in question 1 or question 2, who's really making a strong case in their debating style, are they persuasive or not? And then we're going to do exit polling, and exit polling is, I think, Stephen, what you were really alluding to. We want to ask the basic question: who won the debate? Right. Which party shone above the others? Who did you really like as an individual debater? So all of those kind of questions we feel are really important. And the great part about it is we're going to be owning the data from the polling, Verizon and UB. And then we have our social scientists and other persons who analyze data who are going to be able to look at that data and figure out what it means and to determine if there are trends and more than anything else, determine the pulse of the people. And so to me, that's the value of the debate, is not just the performance of the debaters, but the data, the empirical data that you collect from the polling.
All right, we've got quite a few questions coming in. I know I have a few more, but let's get to the text messages, and maybe some of our listeners have some questions they'd like to ask. You can call in 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us 422-4796. All right, so yeah, this is a given question. Yeah, this is going to be televised on television, or do you have to be online to watch it? Is it going to be virtual?
Right. So we're gonna have access to the actual event through a number of avenues. Of course, there's going to be the nationally televised event on Verizon Eyewitness News on their channel, but we're also going to have live streaming through Facebook and other social media. So if you don't like the television version, you can go on your computer and you can watch it live stream. And I will also add, we're going to use the social media platforms to also field questions from our audiences, right? So we have focus groups strategically located throughout the Bahamas. Of course, those focus groups will be relatively small because we're going to make sure that we're practicing the proper health protocols. But we're also going to take questions from Facebook and other live streaming platforms.
Okay. This text here. If you're vying for seats in the government, you should be in the debates, not sending a messenger in your little junior group to talk on your behalf. Oh, boy. Okay. So, yeah, I think you did mention that. Should we want to hear from the junior members, the young liberals, youth, the young liberals, torchbearers? Do we really want to hear from them on these issues?
I didn't say it was concrete. I would imagine you have options for the bigger parties or traditional parties because they have such a large base and they're complicated organizations. So they could send a younger candidate or they could send a younger MP right now. I'm not going to tell you which parties would send who, as we're still in negotiations now, but I'm just suggesting that for the first debate, you would likely see a younger representative, a younger candidate, or in the case of the FNM as the government, a younger MP, or even someone who happens to hold a cabinet position but is an expert in youth issues.
Mm-hmm. At any point, can you all state and stipulate that you want it to be just the leaders of the parties? Is that a possibility?
Or at least senior members, because I feel like it would be kind of weird if Chester goes head-to-head with somebody who...
Got to say the full names. Chester Cooper is the people that you're talking about. Uh-huh.
Oh, I meant Robards, of course. Chester Cooper, all right, goes head-to-head with the junior shadow minister for the young deputy party, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like people might not take it seriously, take him seriously, and that could affect the polling because it's like this isn't a real person as far as the voters are concerned.
Right. Now, there's something I didn't say, but I want to say it now that's just going to give a real competitive edge to our debate. After the first two debates where we have all 8 parties participating, in the next two, the June 3rd and the June 15th debate, we are only going to allow 4 parties on the platform, and we're going to determine that by polling. So what I'm saying is it's going to become more competitive, and if you want to get to the big time debates, the 3rd and 4th, you better send your best people. Mm-hmm. So you don't want to deputize just because you don't want to debate as a party, as a leader or a deputy leader. You want to send the best person available for your party to each debate because you want to try and get a seat on the table or on the platform, I should say, for debate 3 and 4.
So you're saying there's a possibility that one of the 2 major parties may not even be there at the first one if they don't take it seriously?
I'm saying they need to take the first 2 debates very seriously, May 4th and May 18th, so that they get a space on the platform for the 3rd and 4th debate, yes. Mm-hmm. So they need to really strategize, and I'm seeing that already, looking at discussions I've had amongst the parties. They're really strategizing about who they're going to put on the platform strategically for the first 2 debates. It's very important. So I think the point in all of this, Dwight and Stephen, is we're going to have very high quality debates across the four that I've mentioned.
But back to what I was asking, though. I mean, is there a likelihood that at some point outside of this that we can see a debate with all the leaders of the party?
We would love to see that. And we actually had that as an aspirational goal very early in our committee. We wanted the major parties to be debating with their leaders. For now, we're not going that direction. We're going with the 4 thematic debates, and we'll let the chips fall where they may in terms of who they select to debate. But like I said, there's going to be a competitive element to it based on the polling that I just described. Now, closer to the election, right? When Parliament dissolves and the election is officially called, we might return to the idea of having just the leaders of the parties debate.
Okay. Got some calls coming in. Let's take these. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Mr. Strachan, how are you doing again? Can I comment on this?
Sure.
Professor Curry, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great.
Hello?
Yeah, he's doing well.
He answered you.
All right. Let's meet. Who will be the moderator?
Okay, great question. I should have said that earlier, but I guess it wasn't posed. There's 2 moderators for all 4 debates. It's Clint Watson and myself. We're the moderators.
And you'll both be doing it at the same time.
Mr. Strachan,
we're going to be sitting on the stage facing the 8 debaters.
Dave, one second. Dave, 1 second. So it'll be 2 moderators for each one.
Yes.
Yeah,
Each
okay.
debate will have 2 moderators.
All
And
right.
the moderators
Mr.
are Clint
Strachan, I
Watson
don't
and
know if you're
myself.
doing it intentionally, right? The professor has made it clear Mr. Philip Brave Davis will debate Hubert Minnis at any time. Now, the professor also made it clear that Hubert Minnis said he won't debate Mr. Philip Brave Davis. So, to make a long story short, Mr. Philip Brave Davis, the Prime Minister, Chester Cooper, Devin Bannister, and the Chairman Carl Culmer and Fred Nixon, and then they can pick others, because the bottom line, people want to hear the leaders and hear their views. Would you agree?
Yes, people do.
So like I said, just to make sure and make it clear now, Mr. Philip Brave Davis said he will debate Hubert Minnis at any time, but Hubert Minnis declined the offer.
Yeah, we got that. We got that.
No, Mr. Strachan, don't try to rub it in like you want to see the leaders.
No one's trying to rub it in.
Mr. Davis
Thank you,
said
Dave. You've been great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We're about to call this on. Thank you.
All right?
Thank you.
Yes, we got that. We got that.
Make it clear.
It's very clear. Very clear. Everyone heard it. Hubert Minnis doesn't seem to want to debate anybody. It's very clear, and nobody's surprised. But yes. Okay, something that he said. He brought up the chairman of the party. That's not an option here, is it?
Please don't let it be an option.
Okay, so let's have a scenario where again, if we're doing thematic debates, and say one of the debate topics is foreign policy, right? We know the current chairman of the PLP has sat as a minister, cabinet minister, as a minister of foreign affairs for many times, right?
Right.
So if that was a debate topic, you might see him as chairman of the PLP and a shadow minister in foreign affairs on the debate platform.
And
right?
he is,
Again,
and he is a
it's driven
candidate.
Who debates is driven by the expert in a particular party and who they feel could best win the debate for their party.
Let me ask you, so is there any sort of stipulation where if they submit somebody, at the very least, they have to say how this person is relevant? It can't just be they're setting a DJ because they think he's popular and they're lagging inside the youth vote. It has to be, okay, this guy studied finance or he owns a coffee shop or something. Like, do they have to send a bio for the people who they're sending or something?
No, we're not gonna. In fact, truth be told, because we have, at least for the first 2 debates, 8 parties on the stage. We're not gonna have much time for biographies or a CV being read about the participant. We would announce the person and the party that they're affiliated with, and we're gonna roll with that. Clint and I are gonna be on a serious time constraint. The run show script is very tight, at least for the first 2 debates. So we're not going to give platitudes to particular persons and their background and experience. We'll assume that the party is putting the best person forward to win the debate for their party.
Okay. Let's take another call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Caller, good morning. Are you there? Good morning. You're on the air. Nope. Okay. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Got some more text messages coming in. Okay. Unless you have senior members for the top 2 parties, the process will be a total failure. An admirable idea, but it seems Speaker is developing the process as he speaks. What now? Okay. Well, I don't know. Why would that be the case?
I don't think it's a total failure. I think it's the opposite. I think we are changing the political culture of the Bahamas by having all 8 parties represented in an academic environment where we're digging deep into the national issues that are affecting our country. And you're going to have the best persons presented for each topic from the various parties. And I think out of that, we're going to determine if we want to extend the debates and add a couple more and reconfigure it. Like I said, we would maybe consider doing constituency debates. We might decide to include some independents who aren't part of the coalition. We might decide to work towards just having, when the parliament dissolves, just having the leaders debate. That's something we could talk about and negotiate. And let me just say, there's going to be a lot of pressure that's going to be put on parties because the debates are going to be extremely popular and nationally televised. And I believe the polling is going to be really an important tool to encourage the parties to put the best person out for the debate.
Okay, let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hi, good morning. I'm calling to see whether or not there will be fact checkers at the debate in terms of whether there's going to be confirmations of the numbers or the statements that are going to be there. Would they have that during the debate, or they'll have it after?
That's a great question, and the answer is absolutely yes. We're going to have fact checkers that are going to check the veracity of statements made by the different parties that are debating. That's absolutely an important part. You know, they do that in the United States quite well, and it also allows the Fourth Estate to hold the political participants' feet to the fire, and that's what we're intending to do.
Okay, excellent stuff. Okay. If one party sends its leader and another sends a member at another level, the debate won't allow for an evaluation of equals. Also, pre-distributed questions aren't realistic. This is government, not high school. But congratulations to UB. It's a good start. We haven't even done this before, but the committee needs to push for more adult and real-world standards moving forward. What do you make of that? Giving them a chance to prep, as opposed to thinking on their feet.
We're doing both. There's a balance that we're trying to strike. So in the actual debate, the one that's coming up on the 4th, we're going to have 3 scripted questions where they're going to have time to prepare responses. But we're also going to have at least two, possibly 3 focus group audience generated questions, right? So they're going to have considerable opportunity to be able to think on their feet and answer questions that they haven't prepared for. Then I will also add, we're going to have a rebuttal period as well for at least 3 questions. All right, so remember, a rebuttal is an important part of a debate when you are able to respond on the spot to the material that's been covered in the debate to that point, all right, without introducing new material. So the rebuttal and the audience-generated questions are going to give the debate its real flavor, right? That's not just scripted questions.
Okay, all right. I don't understand this text here. The PLP and the F&M chairman debate is like a mismatch. It's like Floyd Mayweather against Conor McGregor. I don't think so at all. Those two are two of the best in their field. I don't know if that's exactly what this would be like.
Well, luckily, I understand what you're saying.
Right.
But luckily,
so,
that's not. We don't have to. We don't necessarily have to worry about the 2 chairmen going head to head, because once again, these are thematic debates, and so they would have to have a reason. I can't anticipate a reason why Carl Culmer and Fred Mitchell would both. Well, is Fred Mitchell still the chairman, right?
Yes.
He is.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I can't imagine a reason that both of them would have to speak on the same topic.
Right.
Well.
And so, you know, I think it's an unfair analogy to equate the debate between rivals as a boxing match as such, because remember, we're looking at other parties as well. Right. I'll tell you, when we did this in 2017, we did town hall meetings, but they were basically organized the same way thematically. We did 4. And I'll tell you, one of the most popular debaters was Alex Morley. He was passionate. He had some very progressive ideas, and he was able to think outside the box and provide salient answers to questions on the spot. And he impressed, although our sample size was too small to release to the public. He would have, in at least 2 instances, won the day. So what I'm saying to you guys is you could get a debate. Go ahead.
Sorry, will his party be
No.
represented? Okay.
No, I don't think they're contesting this election.
Okay.
Yeah, but we have 8 parties, and it's amazing how the proliferation of parties in the Bahamas today, and we've seen a fracturing of politics in a way in the Bahamas that we've never seen before.
Absolutely. Let's take this call, and then we've got to take a break. Good morning, caller. Okay. Yep. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, how you doing, Dwight?
Hi. Good morning.
Dwight, this is a fantastic idea, but this is very historic, and I think we're making this a pony and clown show by wanting the chairman them to debate and somebody
nobody wants.
We actually said we don't want that. We actually said yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we don't want that, but we keep trying to make this a clown and pony show by doing this crap. Okay, number one thing is this. You all know only one person controls everything in this country. It's the prime minister. Whoever's elected the prime minister controls. Don't send me Fred Mitchell, who's foreign affairs. Fred Mitchell have the most fantastic idea in the world. And the people romp and rage say, yes, we want that, we want that, we want that. If the prime minister says no, it doesn't happen. So the prime minister needs to be, whoever the leader of the party is, needs to be on these events. And I agree, you eliminate the weakest ones of the voting. But that don't come together, but you want me to send this one because he's Minister of Foreign Affairs, this one because he's Minister of Tourism. If the Minister of Tourism come up with the most fantastic idea, the Prime Minister could shut that down.
Yep.
So let's don't do this for leaders, only leaders, or under deputy and one incident.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Let's take a break. When we come back, we've got a lot more messages to get to and there's a few more calls as well. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. We're talking with Dr. Chris Curry with the University of the Bahamas, talking about a series of televised political debates that get underway May 4th. More when we get back.
Burning through the atmosphere. Yeah, you light up everything surrounding. Like a comet, you struck my world. Tell me what you're thinking.
Gran, it was good to see you, but we've got to get home.
Yep, we've got to let the dog out.
Speaking of dogs, you won't believe who I saw the other day.
Who?
Honey.
Remember Anton, Jeanette's oldest boy? The one with the dogs.
With local claims managers, we pay your motor claims fast. We're like a goodbye at your granny's that doesn't take 30 minutes.
We really got to get going.
So soon?
CG Atlantic Agents. Insurance, health, pensions, life. Good like that. Nassau Insurance Brokers and Agents Limited, trading as CG Atlantic Agents.
The best place to get a new iPhone is at BTC. Make the iPhone 12 mini yours for just $199. That's big savings to go with our sweet postpaid value of unlimited local calls, international minutes, roaming data and minutes, plus all the data you need. Stream, share, and stay connected on the best LTE network when you switch to BTC. Visit a store to sign up today and get the iPhone 12 mini for just $199. Conditions apply.
Cash is what we have been using for generations, but it's no longer the only way to pay or receive money. That is great news for business owners. I'm Lasagna Mizik, Managing Director at RBC Royal Bank, encouraging you to find out how going cashless can benefit your business with faster transactions and settlements, better cash flow management, plus reduce risk of theft. Learn more at rbc.com/Caribbean/go cashless. RBC Royal Bank. Banking reimagined.
Imagine. That's where every advancement begins, with an idea that things can be different, better. Now, imagine a world where your entertainment experience was all about you, your style, your show, at your budget. At Rev, that's what we've imagined. To join the conversation and learn more about the future of Rev TV, visit us at rev.bs/imagine.
Gran, it was good to see you, but we've got to get home.
Yep, we've got to let the dog out.
Speaking of dogs, you won't believe who I saw the other day.
Who?
Honey.
Remember Anton, Jeanette's oldest boy? The one with the dogs.
With local claims managers, we pay your motor claims fast. We're like a goodbye at your granny's that doesn't take 30 minutes.
We really got to get going.
So soon?
CG Atlantic Agents. Insurance, health, pensions, life. Good like that. Nassau Insurance Brokers and Agents Limited, trading SCG Atlantic Agents.
There's only one way to have a better morning. How? Start your mornings the best way with our 2 for $6 breakfast sandwiches at Wendy's. For a limited time, choose any 2 of your favorite breakfast sandwiches, including the fresh Strachan sack muffin, honey buttermilk chicken biscuit, double sausage muffin, or the sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit. Wash it all down with our cold brew shake or coffee. Better mornings always start at Wendy's. Wendy's, different inside and out. Excludes airport locations.
Roaming just got easier. Say hello to more with our new Liberty Prime plan. With more minutes, more texts, and more data to do the things you love right here at home and even when you travel. With the all-new Liberty Prime, Liberty Premium, and Liberty Elite, you've got one less worry. Roam again. Alive. Believe in best. Believe in best.
Stay a step ahead of technology with certainty and support from Custom Computers. Our know-how team is here to help you zero in on your next big tech purchase, finding solutions that take your productivity to the next level using only the best and most reliable brands. With 4 stores all across Nassau on East Bay, West Bay, Old Fort Bay, and Palmdale, there's no stopping you from stepping up your tech. Reach out to us at 396-1100. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
You invest in your children, your home, and your community. But are you investing in your financial future? At CFAL, we specialize in investment management, retirement planning, mutual funds, and private wealth management. Our team of experts never stops helping you plan for tomorrow. Because tomorrow begins today. Call us at 502-7010 to see what our financial advisors can do for you. CFAL. Growing wealth for future generations.
The Department of Environmental Health Services and the Ministry of Environment is proud to present the Enviro Bahamas app, an app designed to cut down on the wait time of non-collection, swift removal of hazardous items, old furniture, appliances, and the eyesore of community pileup. Skip the call-in hotlines. Get straight to the source. Search Enviro Bahamas in the Google Play Store. Get rid of the crap. Download the app today.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Just talk. Can't we just talk? Talk about where we're going before we get lost.
We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Stephen Hanna on this Friday morning. We are talking with Dr. Chris Curry with UB, talking about political debates, a political debate series they have planned with Verizon Media to start next month. We're getting some great questions here. You can continue to text us 422-4796. This person's asking 3 scripted questions, audience questions, social media questions, rebuttals, and 8 candidates. How long will this debate last? How long are we looking at?
We've done what we call a run show with a script. Because it's a live broadcast, and we're accounting for a few commercial breaks as well. And so essentially we're running from 8 p.m. prime time until 10 p.m. And we've done the math and all of that, and we can end confidently at 10 and have the 3 scripted questions and at least 2, if not more, audience-generated questions from the focus groups that I mentioned and live streaming.
How long do the candidates have to answer the questions? Bahamians are very long-winded.
They give them a short amount of time, but we've managed to get it whittled down to about 2 minutes per question for each debater, and then the rebuttal is, I think, less than a minute. But then we also have the audience-generated questions. They're going to have a little bit longer as well. So altogether, they have enough time to make their points. They do have to be concise.
Yeah.
And that's the part that's going to be a challenge too for the parties.
Oh, yes.
But if you look at the U.S., sometimes they gave persons when it was Donald Trump versus Biden, they were giving them 20 seconds, 15 seconds, 30 seconds sometimes to to respond to a statement from the opposing debater.
Right.
So we're giving more time than that for each person to respond in the rebuttal and in the main question period.
So no time for the long old-time stories about what you did.
No long old-time stories, no protracted speeches.
My goodness.
Dwight, I'll tell you that Clint and I, we have the capacity to mic and unmic you if you go over time. And that will be a penalty in the sense that you'll be mic'd. Your mic will be turned off, I should say. And of course, if you personally attack an opponent, if you go over time, and if you add additional information outside of what the debate is, you can also be muted for that.
This text here, this is an excellent initiative and long overdue. I think it's also a good way for candidates to see what's important to constituents. Do we think that's really going to make a difference there? Do they? I don't know if you can answer that, Chris. Whether they care what we think about, but hopefully.
We shall see.
Yeah, I think the constituency level, some of this will percolate down because what we consider to be national issues, they affect everybody everywhere. We're concerned, I would tell you, about family island development, and sometimes our family islands are marginalized, and that's why we're intending to make sure that focus groups are set up in our family islands as well. Definitely one in Grand Bahama, and certainly we'll look at other focus groups in other islands. This is a national debate, a series of national debates. It's not a Nassau-centric initiative.
Right. All right, so if people are interested in being a part of the audience, what do they need to do? How do they do that?
Well, we're gonna look at setting up the focus groups. We're still working on the mechanics of that. We're also looking at having a student focus group through SGA, our student government at UB. Certainly one in Grand Bahama, but the mechanics of how the focus group are going to set up, we're still working that through. And so I'll get back to you on that. But the focus groups have to be small. Remember, we can't violate the protocols of the Ministry of Health. As it relates to COVID-19. So they're going to be strategically located, and we're going to use probably a Zoom platform for fielding the question through to Clint and I on the stage.
Right, okay. And again, you were saying it before the news, but where is it going to be taking place? Where will these be?
Right, so the debate is actually going to be held at the Performing Arts Center, but we're restricting face-to-face attendance to only 20 persons. Remember, we're in our third wave of COVID. And so we're ever mindful that we don't want to violate the rules in place for meeting, especially with a meeting of this nature.
If only the candidates were
on the stage with the two moderators, and then just a few aides and family members in the audience, not exceeding 20.
Wonderful stuff. If only the candidates were to practice such measures when they're out there campaigning, but how am I? Okay, so this is fantastic. Again, remind us of the dates, Chris Curry.
Right, so the dates, the first one is May 4th. That's less than 2 weeks away. Then we're going to go with May 18th, and then we're going to go with June 3rd, and then the last one is June 15th.
Okay, this is very exciting, and as people were saying, long overdue. Good stuff, and we hope that there'll be more as we get closer to the election, whenever that is. But thank you very much, Chris Curry. Appreciate it very much.
It's been my pleasure, and thank you, Dwight, for having me on the show, and Stephen, appreciate it all the time.
Okay, all right. Stephen, we're going to take a break and be back with Morning Blend Business. We're going to be talking with the head of the hotel union, Darren Wood's going to be joining us. A lot to talk to him about this morning. That's it for now. We'll be back after the break. Stay with us.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
This is the Guardian News Network update on the hour. Hello, everyone. I'm Charlene Ferguson. A judgment in default of defense will stand against Sky Bahamas CEO Randy Butler, despite his efforts to have it set aside. Alpha Aviation Limited and Advanced Aviation Limited, the plaintiffs, back in January, sought the action after no defense was entered by Butler and other defendants in that case. Supreme Court Deputy Registrar Carol Meisowitz yesterday declined to exercise her discretion to set aside the judgment in default of defense, citing the inability to find any support in the evidence on which to rest the exercise of the court's discretion in favor of the defendants. The court has since decided to award the cost of the application to the plaintiffs and will hear counsel before fixing costs. Alpha Aviation Limited and Advanced Aviation Limited have accused Butler and others of conspiring with former Finance Minister Peter Turnquest to defraud them of over $20 million in a bid to enrich themselves. Turnquest is not named as a defendant in that matter. In other news, Phase 2 of that demolition exercise underway in the farm shantytown in Abaco is set to begin today. 45 incomplete and unoccupied buildings there were demolished yesterday as government began removing unregulated structures from that community. The Ministry of Public Works has said that government remains firm in its resolve to ensure that the health hazards and hazardous conditions that unregulated communities foster are dealt with decisively and effectively. Meantime, Rights Bahamas legal director Fred Smith argues it's unfortunate that government would create another humanitarian crisis on that island where hundreds lost homes during that storm, and when government officials concede there is a housing shortage on Abaco. And immigration officials have determined there is no substance to an allegation of misconduct against one of their male officers accused of sexually assaulting a female migrant allegedly at a department safe house. In a statement, the department says the alleged victim has made no complaint of and denies the occurrence of any appropriate conduct and now only insists on her immediate repatriation. We're told that joint investigation between immigration and police is now closed and there will be no further comment on the matter. That's what's making headlines at this hour. Stay with us. AP Update is next.
Beulah, gal, can you believe this? We are now the patrol queens of the neighborhood.
We now large and in charge. So we need to check out what's going on in everybody's yard. What about that gun that we know that Junior and his homeboys just ran out? Can we report that too?
Of course we can.
But we could be in deep trouble if they find out.
We need to report what we see, Beulah. When you call Crime Stoppers, they just answer your call in Miami.
So then we can report everything? Guns, where they hiding the drugs, who shoot who part of which gang, or who disturbing the peace with the loud music and the motorcycles.
Then our neighborhood will be the best in the Bahamas, and everybody gonna want to come live here. And then our house price will go up, gal.
So what we waiting on? What's the number?
If you see something, say something. Let us all pitch in and stop the crime before it's your time. Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands. Or text us through the Crack Crime Bahamas app. Stop the crime before it's your time. This traffic report brought to you by Shield Insurance.
Final look at traffic this morning, and moving out of the southwest, really a challenge. The traffic lines are slow and exiting those main thoroughfares, Gladstone Road, Zamala Highway, and Carmichael Road. Say what you like, the commute has been moving at a much slower pace all over so far, even getting over the hill at Blue Hill Road. Still a challenge merging into that Tony Switcher Darling roundabout below. In the meantime, there's been a number of those other routes that now also have built up traffic. For example, East Street South, the ride into the city has increased, so the roads have slowed down again along the way. After crossing Soldier Road, it slows a bit, getting through the traffic light ahead and onto the Independence roundabout area. Familiar slowdown happening on Prince Charles Drive from Soldier Road into the Marathon intersection, but you're used to that at this hour. Soldier Road itself, the morning traffic is bungling there at the traffic light intersection of Wolf Road and Vernon Road. They're still hanging up there at that traffic light with the lane T line getting through there. Wolf Road just warming up for the day's traffic, so it's not congested as yet, but we can see that it's getting a bit busier by the moment. And so far, the riding along West Bay Street has been pretty moderate all morning. No hang-ups going on over there. Again, it's just the Southwest gateways where, unfortunately, traffic really has been delayed this morning. This National Traffic Report is a service of Garden of Eden in Eastwood. They offer you delicious Bahamian breakfast every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday morning from 7:30 a.m. Today, snappers with peas and grits and 2 sides for lunch is on the menu. You can order your lunch or breakfast by calling them at 819-5574. That's 819-5574 for easy pickup directions and to order yours today. With your Rider Sky, look at traffic in real time. I'm VANN.
Hello, sir. Your credit card bill is due.
Hello, sir. It's time for your monthly loan payment. Tired of creditors pounding at your door? Sign up for a debt consolidation loan from Fidelity Bank and consolidate your debt into one low monthly payment. What's more, you will also earn interest on a built-in savings account. The pandemic has curbed many freedoms, but at Fidelity, our focus is to help regain your financial freedom. Visit a branch or speak to Fidelity Bank at 356-7764. COVID safety measures in place at all branches. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Coronavirus update. I'm Rita Foley with an AP News Minute. A CDC panel of experts meets today, and we could hear from them soon about whether to let the Johnson & Johnson COVID shot be given out again. The J&J shot was put on hold 10 days ago due to reports of rare blood clots among several women who got the vaccine. There's no final word yet on whether those blood clots are linked to the vaccine. Here's our Jackie Quinn.
Today's meeting of a government advisory committee is to further discuss the vaccinations and make recommendations soon on whether or not to use the J&J one-and-done vaccine. The blood clots are considered extremely rare, 8 known cases out of 8 million vaccinations. Jackie Quinn, Washington.
Officials are investigating the death of a woman in Oregon who developed a rare blood clot after getting the J&J shot. And a Texas woman has been hospitalized with possible blood clots. I'm Rita Foley.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Friday, April 23rd, 2021. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Stephen Hanna sticking around with us this morning. Stephen, thank you very much. This morning, we are going to be talking with the Hotel Union President, Darren Woods. The Hotel Union under great pressure. It's been for more than a year since many properties were shut down last year and still haven't gone back up to what was normal. We're going to be talking about where things stand at this point and where things are heading for this industry. That's coming up this morning. But first, it's time for your morning business report brought to you by CFAL. In your morning business report, the financial services sector continued to shrink in 2020, with the number of institutions declining to 217 and total assets dropping to $173.2 billion. It's a continuation of a 5-year trend which saw consistent leakages in the sector. Comparatively, there were 221 institutions in 2019, 231 in 2018, and 249 in 2015. Assets in 2019 were $186.6 billion, and in 2015 they stood at $262 billion. Employment in the financial services sector dropped to 3,843 in 2020 compared to 4,000 in 2019 and 4,366 in 2015. Despite this, Central Bank Governor John Rawls says there's been some growth in the public bank and trust company segment, which currently is comprised of 84 financial institutions. The Bahamas has had the highest value-added tax revenue ratio in Latin America and the Caribbean just before the COVID-19 pandemic. That's according to just released revenue statistics report by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, the OECD. The VAT revenue ratio is the ratio of the actual VAT revenues to the product of the final consumption net of VAT revenues and the standard VAT rate. The OECD stated that the ratio provides a sense of VAT revenue loss related to exemptions and reduced rates, fraud, evasion, and tax planning, as well as weaknesses in tax administrations. The Bahamas' VRR was 82 compared to Barbados' 68, St. Lucia's 64, and Trinidad and Tobago's 35. The Royal Bahamas Police Force's COVID-19 enforcement unit will be charged with overseeing businesses that have received World Travel and Tourism Council Safe Travel Accreditation in order to ensure that they remain in compliance with the guidelines that originally afforded them the designation. That's according to Tourism Development Corporation Chief Executive Officer and Executive Director Janet Johnson. The TDC and the police force signing a memorandum of understanding yesterday that bolsters the cooperation between both entities in ensuring businesses across the country that are awarded the Safe Travel designation remain in compliance. And the Grand Bahama is looking to Royal Caribbean International's Bahamas Home Porting Initiative as a chance for that island to begin a rebound after Hurricane Dorian, and while still battling the COVID-19 pandemic. That's according to Grand Bahama Chamber of Commerce Representative Mick Holding. In a statement yesterday, the Grand Bahama Port Authority lauded the cruise line's historic decision to home port at Nassau's cruise port and provision and fuel its vessel in Grand Bahama. Holding says the benefits that will accrue from home porting will be ideal for the rebuilding of the economy for Grand Bahama. Holding says many businesses on the island have suffered tremendous losses since Hurricane Dorian and continue to face challenges through the time of COVID. He says the home porting project presents a chance for the community to rebound in their local economy and embrace a new international client opportunity. More of these stories in today's Guardian Business section. Overseas, Britain has seen its budget deficit rise during the coronavirus pandemic to its highest level since the year after the end of World War II. That's according to official figures released today. The Office for National Statistics saying public sector net borrowing, the official gauge of the difference between the government spending and taxes, reached £303.1 billion, or $420 billion, in the financial year to end March. This was equivalent to 14.5% of the country's annual gross domestic product, the highest level since 1946, when the deficit hit 15.2% of GDP. The causes of the spike are simple. While tax receipts have ebbed as a result of the deepest recession in more than 300 years, the government has splashed out billions of pounds trying to prop up the economy and jobs since the pandemic first struck more than a year ago. Notably, has been covering the lion's share of the salaries of people unable to work during the country's many lockdowns and providing further support to hard-hit businesses. The scale of the borrowing the government has had to undertake in the wake of the pandemic is evident in the size of the increase in the deficit from £57 billion in the previous financial year. And American Express seeing its first quarter profits rise sharply, but the company saw a significant drop in revenue as fewer customers used their credit cards and those with balances paid down debt. The New York-based company says it earned a profit of $2.24 billion, or $2.74 a share, compared with a profit of $367 million, or 41 cents a share, in the same period a year earlier. This quarter's results included a one-time $675 million benefit from Amex's loan loss reserves. Like other financial companies, Amex has set aside funds to cover potentially bad loans in the pandemic, but as the economy has improved in the U.S., those funds are coming out of those rainy day funds and returned to shareholders. Closer to home, recapping your trading on the BISX from Thursday, your market movers Bahamas Waste moving 175 shares, closing unchanged at $6.96. Cable Bahamas moving 3,915, closing up 28 cents to $3.53. AML Foods Limited moving 2,000, unchanged at $5. Benchmark moving 1,000, up 4 cents, closing at $1.50. Consolidated Water unchanged at $2.57. Emir Incorporated unchanged at $11.34. The BISX All Share Index closing at 1,953.14, up 5.14. That's your Market Watch. And that is your morning business report brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations. You are listening to Morning Blend Business. When we come back, we are talking with the Bahamas Hotel Catering and Allied Workers Union, President Darren Woods. We'll be back here with Morning Blend Business, brought to you in part by Cash and Go. Pay your BAF insurance premium in the new Cash and Go mobile wallet. Download today in the Google Play or App Store and avoid the lines. Cash and Go.
You invest in your children, your home, and your community. But are you investing in your financial future? At CFAL, we specialize in investment management, retirement planning, mutual funds, and private wealth management. Our team of experts never stops helping you plan for tomorrow. Because tomorrow begins today. Call us at 502-7010 to see what our financial advisors can do for you. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
For the past 33 years, Great Commission Ministries has been defending the poor and hurting, feeding the hungry, and sheltering the homeless. We invite you to support our Live to Give program and make a difference in these challenging times. Become a donor by giving a one-time annual gift or a monthly donation of $50 or $100. Call Great Commission Ministries at 325-5801 for more details. Or visit our headquarters at 237 Wolf Road. Join Live to Give today. This public service announcement is proudly sponsored by this radio station.
Boy, why you look so mashed up like clothes at the washer?
No, boy, just a hard day, boy.
Hard day? What happened? The breakfast lady ran out of tuna and gritsy.
We need to start joking with everything, you know. This serious, boy. This real serious, boy.
Boy, what's serious? Tell me.
All right, well, today, boss gave us, boy, one big contract. And nobody else get a chance and nobody say nothing.
Boy, you know that ain't right. You know government contracts ain't supposed to go that way.
Yeah, but nobody's saying nothing. Boss man just tell people to sign the papers. Then he send me to meet this boy downtown and collect this envelope.
You need to tell somebody. You need to become a whistleblower.
You know I's a real man, but I never blow no whistle. I be drunk all my life and drunk.
No way. A whistleblower is someone who tells people what they see when they see something wrong happening at work.
But I ain't no whistleblower, and I ain't no snitch. I still white there, you know.
But ain't nobody can know it's you. All you gotta do is call Crime Stoppers, or you could text them from inside the Croc Crime Bahamas app. They don't ask about you, and your call goes straight through to Miami, so nobody know you is. And if you text, your message get mixed up like Kong Salad.
Call 328-8477 from Nassau, or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands.
Transferring money just got easier. With the Cash and Go mobile wallet, you can send or receive money from anyone nationally. Simply log in, select the transfer funds option on the home screen, enter the receiver's mobile app number and amount, and click send.
You can do it at Cash and Go. Pay all your bills at Cash and Go. Send your money from Cash and Go. Top up your minutes. Cash and Go. Pay insurance at Cash and Go. 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's at Cash and Go.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Around this time I wasn't asleep, I was right.
We are back here with Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan with Stephen Hanna on this Friday morning. We're very pleased to welcome to the show the president of the Bahamas Hotel Catering and Allied Workers Union, Darren Woods. Good morning, sir. Great to have you with us.
Good morning, Mr. Strong. Good morning, Bahamas. And I have to apologize. I know we've been trying to connect for some time, but it's been hectic.
I can imagine.
All that is going on, but
we finally have you.
I didn't think it.
No, it's good that we finally have you. It's
Can
good
you
that
hear
we
me?
Yes. We finally have you. That's
Yes,
great.
sir.
All right, so we have a lot to talk about and not too much time, but let's. I want to get your views on before we get to specifics with the hotels and the challenges facing hotels. But your views on what's happening with travel and the announcement that was made this week, and we know this is. And what we're hearing from some employers about vaccinations and requirements and for employees, but also the fact that people are going to be able to travel here without taking tests, and what your union thinks about that and what you think about that. What can you tell us?
Well, particularly from the sector where we represent, that is not made mandatory. And our position on that is the government has not made it mandatory. And we've said to the persons in the industry that, of course, it's a personal decision as it relates whether to be vaccinated or not, because persons may have underlying conditions. And I put myself in that with the recent health challenges that I would have had. I had to actually speak to my doctor to get from her which direction I should go in. And so for someone to force me to have to take a vaccine, I believe that could border on unconstitutionality. And of course, at the end of the day, that would be, I guess, challenge in whichever market. But we support the Director of Labor in his comments where you cannot change persons' terms and conditions of employment in midstream. And I think I saw the headlines from the attorney for the company or the owner saying to sue him. So we'll see where that goes. The government did indicate that come May 1st, that persons who can prove that they've been double vaccinated will not have to take the PCR test. What would that mean for us? Because, as far as we were told, and the scientific results is there to back it, that you are still able to contract the virus. But now there's another study that's saying that you may not be able to spread it. So again, it's all kind of what happens and what do you do? So, I mean, it's hard to speak to it specifically as to what would be the fallout until something actually happens.
Yeah.
But we would say to our people, continue to practice the social distancing and follow all of the protocols because we are, by all accounts, in the third wave.
Absolutely. All right, so let's talk specifically about hotels. We know that this has been a very, very challenging year for the industry, for the whole tourism industry. But we know that things are nowhere near back to normal. We've got a number of properties that still haven't opened yet. And the ones that are open, it's only partial employment. Where do things stand at this point? What are we hearing with all this talk about vaccines? Are we hearing more from the properties about what's going to change going forward?
Not in that regard, but what we are hearing from them is that they are trying to ramp up the sales and marketing side to encourage persons to travel, because based on all accounts, some people are prepared to travel, and we don't know. I guess with the added incentive that the government is using, and that's my word, not theirs, please. That might encourage persons to travel, because when you look at with whatever restrictions and whatever obstacles they view, persons who live in the States, in particular the Florida market, the New York market, Canada's actually closed their borders. The Texas markets, which we rely heavily on, those persons can do interstate travel as opposed to international travel. And so we need to do what is necessary to try to attract people. Because ordinarily, if things were normal, we would pretty much be heading into our busiest time of the year. We would have been coming off the spring break, and then of course heading towards the summer months, which is very robust during this time. But we are actually seeing what we call a struggling attempt to get back to some sense of normalcy as it relates to visitor arrival. And even though, I heard the Minister of Tourism saying that the visitor arrivals are up, but where are they staying? Not necessarily in the hotels and stuff, because most of them are still closed, with the exception of the two big boys and the one downtown.
Yeah, so you are definitely seeing and feeling the impact of homes and Airbnb and that type of market.
Yeah, and of course that is a concern for us, because what that is doing now, that is actually taking away from the traditional, and that's why we say to our people, there was a program that we from our administration had intended to implement last year, what we call Reset, right? Where we start to assess where we are as an industry and our members, and kind of to put on programs to get them requalified and also cross-trained into other areas, so that particularly jobs will be moving away as it relates to technology. I mean, I know most of us frequent the States, and we would see, particularly right offhand, if you go into a Walmart or Home Depot, they have those what they call cashless booths.
Mm-hmm.
And so that really prompted us to start looking in that vein, to kind of get our people up to speed with other jobs in the same sector or in other sectors, so that they wouldn't be on the unemployment line.
How many people took advantage of that during this year when so many were off? Did you have a good response to that?
Well, we know that a lot of our people would have taken advantage of a lot of online courses that a lot of places offered free. We know some of the in-house persons here, they took advantage, and not advertising, but Synergy offered some online courses that were free for 4 weeks initially. And then, of course, there were some online courses online. And personally, I did some development also to try to take advantage of that downtime. And then, because out of this pandemic, I believe most of us should have learned something. It has created a lot of other business avenues for some other people. And so I look to see a re-energized workforce once, with the ones who are going back and the ones who will be going back, and even the ones who don't go back. I even look to see some good things from them based on some of the trainings that they would have taken advantage of during this downtime.
When you say that brings an interesting question to mind. Has your membership fluctuated in any way? I mean, I know that some persons may have been let go, but then have persons started to migrate away from the hotel industry altogether based on this pandemic and how things are looking a little unsteady now?
I would have to say yes. And let me quantify that. First and foremost, you had hotels and resorts that closed and did not reopen. Okay? So those persons here, I know in San Salvador in particular, had to go look for other employment. And then for the ones where the hotels are closed and they're on furlough, some of them actually went into, who were able to find different type of work. Some actually created some work, because I saw one of our persons yesterday who's actually in the delivery business, the curbside drop-off, pickup. And then you will find persons, as I heard someone on the radio this week too from the industry, who now develop drinks and stuff that they are marketing. He's a bartender, and the other one was also a bartender from Paradise Island. And so they are actually developing their drinks. And then you find a lot of the persons in the culinary field start to do cooking and start the selling or vending of food and so forth. So you kind of see that kind of going in that direction right now. So who knows, based on what they are, the kind of clientele that they are catering to and what they're able to do, they may be able to, they might decide just to continue in that vein as opposed to going back into the hospitality industry. And when I talk about the hotel sector, I like to talk about the hospitality industry as a whole, which includes a whole group of people, gamut, which even encompasses the taxi drivers and all of that. And so you find a lot of people were doing some things to try to do, just to keep their head above water.
Yeah. Let's talk about the assistance that the union has been able to provide for members during this past year. What has the union been able to do, and has it been enough?
Well, over the past, Sorry, I didn't get the last part of that. Sorry.
And has it been enough? What are you hearing from your members?
Well, it'll never be enough. It'll never be enough because no agency or entity would have been able to sustain what we were faced with, because this was something that was unprecedented. No one planned for it. But what we were able to do in the first instance was we were able to negotiate some assistance for the membership, but the industry, because what we did was we looked at the industry and whether you were in or out, is the religious side of us. We said, we were looking for our brothers also. We were able to negotiate assistance program for them on a quarterly basis, where they would have received some $500, and directly we would have been able to negotiate. We were able to provide, grocery assistance for them, one in the form of a voucher that they came and pick up, and then the other was it was placed directly onto their payroll. And a lot of people say, well, I've been here all this time and this is all I got. But when you talk about $100 times one is only $100, right? But when you talk about $100 times the 4,000 plus members that we have, it ain't $100 anymore, eh? And to do that on 2 occasions while everything is struggling. And then we continue to, a part of what we also did was we tried to make it easier for them to be able to receive the NIB contributions, as opposed to 10,000 persons going down to NIB. We were able to convince the Minister of National Insurance to allow it to be processed through the hotels and go directly on. Then the hotels would be the ones responsible for verifying them, which no system is foolproof. There were still some hiccups that we had to get involved with along the way to make sure that the persons were paid, because there was, in some instances, there were lacks in terms of the payments. But all in all, they would have been able to at least receive some payment. And I mean, the total value of the assistance is in the millions of dollars. And so, and as long as the people are home, we could do our best to ensure that we are still able to negotiate assistance and offer whatever benefits we can, given the circumstances that we're in.
Now, we know the cries, at least publicly, aren't as loud as they were a few months ago, but we know they were very loud, many employees wanting to be separated from their properties. And we know the union had an interesting position on that. Let's talk about that and where things stand at this point. Are you still hearing a lot of people saying they want to be separated?
Yeah, well, we still hear that. And the position that we would have taken as per our agreement is that if someone has been laid off for more than 10 weeks, 12 weeks, or whatever the time is, that they could then approach the employer to be made redundant, right? But that's a call that they would have to make. But interestingly, the emergency orders actually prohibits redundancies. You find that it actually suspends Section 28C of the Employment Act, which provides for the order actually suspends it. So when the hotels and all those areas made persons redundant, we were the first persons asking or questioning the validity of it. And so we had to go actually as far as meeting with the government to kind of get them to look at persons who want to go and facilitate that. Now, some properties did that, where persons said that, listen, I have had enough. I just want to go, just pay me, and that was facilitated. Now, we have the major one that we're still having the challenge with to actually get that process completed. They kind of cherry pick. And so, but the cry is still there. And the reason why we didn't want a blanket thing was because you find persons who don't want to go. And when you put a blanket thing on it, then you will find that persons who want to stay will end up going, and persons who want to go will end up there.
All right. So, I mean, how many persons, like percentage wise, do you think actually requested to be made redundant?
It's hard to put a number on it because we were hearing it in pockets. They weren't where they could go and register. What we said to them is if they call us, we said, well, listen, contact XYZ. And once you make that request to them and they will facilitate it, then they would, as per the law, then they have to engage us to ensure that whatever is it. But we believe it's quite a bit of people who are interested, and pretty much, and let me just put it into context. When you talk about persons being made redundant in the hospitality industry, particularly the service industry, the housekeepers, the bartenders, and those persons, the maximum that they would receive after 12 years, which is what the law requires, is some $4,900, right? And so I heard on another show where someone was saying, why they don't just pay the people out and let them get their $40,000, $50,000. I don't know which industry or which people in the industry they're referring to, because it cannot be the persons in the bargaining unit, which is why we say to our people that is a personal decision that you have to make, because you have to now sit down, do the calculation, and see based on what you would receive, and then what your plan is after that. Okay. And one of the interesting things once we start with the government to say, listen, we need to look at the redundancy payout, because persons in the industry would spend some of them spend 40 years and they only paid for 12 years, 2 weeks for every year. So we've made that something for them to look at, because they did indicate, this present government indicated that they would have been doing some amendments to both the Employment Act and the Industrial Relations Act. But of course, that is yet. And I guess with all that has happened too, but it's not happened as yet. So it's hard to put a number on it, Mr.
So what would you like to see? How should it work with that, especially if you've worked for that long a period? What is the union saying on that?
Well, we would like to see them fairly compensated because, in most instances, these people give all their sweat, tears, and all their youth to these places. And if we would like to see them, if you work 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever, that you'll be compensated. Even if they don't increase the years, increase the amount of weeks that you're paid for. Something that is commensurate. And you could never really pay a man for what he's worth at the end of the day. But I mean, something that it would be amenable.
Yeah. All right. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we've got some interesting text messages in, and we've got some more issues to talk to you about. We are talking with Darren Woods of the Bahamas Hotel Catering and Allied Workers Union. This is Morning Blend Business. We'll be back after these messages. Stay with us.
I'd like to say a very special thanks right here to the VFW. And I hope you all have a nice time. Take the ribbon from your hair, shake it loose and let it fall. Lay them soft upon my skin, like the shadows.
You invest in your children, your home, and your community. But are you investing in your financial future? At CFAL, we specialize in investment management, retirement planning, mutual funds, and private wealth management. Our team of experts never stops helping you plan for tomorrow. Because tomorrow begins today. Call us at 502-7010 to see what our financial advisors can do for you. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
For the past 33 years, Great Commission Ministries has been defending the poor and hurting, feeding the hungry, and sheltering the homeless. We invite you to support our Live to Give program and make a difference in these challenging times. Become a donor by giving a one-time annual gift or a monthly donation of $50 or $100. Call Great Commission Ministries at 325-5801 for more details, or visit our headquarters at 237 Wolf Road. Join Live to Give today. This public service announcement is proudly sponsored by this radio station.
Boy, why you look so mashed up like clothes at the washer?
No, boy, just a hard day, boy.
Hard day? What happened? The breakfast lady ran out of tuna and gritty.
We need to start joking about everything, This serious, boy. This real serious, boy.
Boy, what's serious? Tell me.
All right, well, today, boss gave us, boy, one big contract. And nobody else get a chance, and nobody say nothing.
Boy, you know that ain't right. You know government contracts ain't supposed to go that way.
Yeah, but nobody's saying nothing. Boss man just tell people to sign the papers, then he send me the meters boy downtown and collect this envelope.
You need to tell somebody. You need to become a whistleblower.
You know I's a real man, but I never blow no whistle. I be drunk all my life and junk.
No way. A whistleblower is someone who tells people what they see when they see something wrong happening at work.
But I ain't no whistleblower, and I ain't no snitch. I still white there, you know.
But ain't nobody can know it's you. All you gotta do is call Crime Stoppers, or you could text them from inside the Crack Crime Bahamas app. They don't ask about you. And your call goes straight through to Miami, so nobody know you is. And if you text, your message get mixed up like Kong Salad.
Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands.
And we've got your final look at weather for today. We've got a weak frontal boundary approaching the extreme northwest Bahamas. That's going to merge with a stationary front across the northwestern islands today, then continue to slowly drift southeastwards while generating pockets of unsettled weather over portions of the northwest and central Bahamas. Boaters in the northwest and central Bahamas should again exercise caution as there's a high risk of waterspout or tornado activity today. For today, for the northwest and central Bahamas, look for partly cloudy, breezy, and warm conditions with isolated showers and thunderstorms mainly near the frontal boundaries through tonight. Smallcraft caution in effect for the northwest Bahamas. Expect gusty winds and higher seas in heavy showers and thunderstorms. We're up to 79 degrees right now in Nassau. Look for highs getting up to around 84 Fahrenheit, 29 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to 73 Fahrenheit, 23 Celsius. For your weekend, we're expecting that frontal boundary to slowly dissipate come Saturday, while high pressure will briefly build across the islands through Sunday. So for tomorrow, Saturday, look for variably cloudy and breezy conditions with a few isolated showers. Sunday, partly cloudy and hot with a few isolated showers, mainly across the northwest Bahamas. That's your morning blend weather check. We are back with Morning Blend Business. Dwight Strachan along with Stephen Hanna. We are talking with Darren Woods with the Hotel Union, Hotel Catering and Allied Workers Union, talking about what they are facing today. We've got a couple of questions coming in. You can continue to text us as well, 422-4796, 422-4796, and you can call us 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. We've got a couple questions here about sandals. Somebody says here, I'm a sandals employee, and we were just told that the resort will open up in November, which will be 20 months, I guess since they've been closed in total, and we have not received a penny from them. We've asked to be paid out, but we're told no. We need answers because this, with Mother Nature, there's no guarantee that we will open on the mentioned date. Please help. And another one about sandals. We would like to know Mr. Wood's thoughts on sandals announcing that they intend to remain closed for the renovations but not releasing their staff on redundancy. What can you say about that? They're not union now, right? Is that right?
The hotel maintenance union. So we don't normally speak for another union because I don't know what their president is doing. But
right.
You see what Malia would have done. They made a decision that they weren't going to open. They were going to continue, actually start their renovations. And what they did was they just paid the people out. Mm-hmm. So, and I'm sure their union would say the same thing. Listen, if you're going to keep the place closed, then, and particularly they say they're going to do renovations, because I heard that on the news this morning. Mm-hmm. They'll just sever the people and then give them an opportunity to apply, to be the first to be able to get an opportunity back down there. So
Yeah,
we could reach out to them to see what they're, because I mean, at the end of the day, we're all in this together, you know, and the more support you get from the various sectors, the stronger it makes your case, in particular, or your argument.
Absolutely. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Caller, good morning.
Good morning.
Hi.
Yes, good morning, Darren. How you doing?
Good. Fine, thanks.
Yeah,
Hello?
he can hear you. We're doing well. We're doing well. Mhm.
Yes, good morning, Sean, and good morning to your guest and Mr. Wood. I just want to say that, there are still many hotel workers, furloughed hotel workers, who I would have spoke to, who have indicated that they want their redundancy pay. It's been over a year now. They're tired. They're frustrated. Many of them they know that the redundancy pay is not a lot of money. But at the end of the day, when you can't put food on your table and you can't eat, $5,000, $8,000, $7,000, whatever it is still something that they can have in their hand. I think it's also important to know that the law also states that these workers, if they are made redundant, should be the first set of workers to be called back once business comes to some normalcy. And redundancy is nothing new in the hotel industry. It's been happening for years, just that more light has been shed on it because of the pandemic. Secondly, I heard Mr. President, Mr. Wood, is saying how they have negotiated food vouchers and assistance for the workers. Darren Wood should be one of the lead trustees on the board of trustees, so for the pension fund, the health and welfare fund. So that money would have come from the health and welfare fund. I think the questions should be asked is what has the union done for its members? I think he said some 4,500 members. What have the union done for its members directly? Because the assistance was for all the employees, bargaining unit employees, which means whether you are a member or not, you still got that assistance. I got it at the time when I was still employed at Atlantis. And then secondly, what about the injunction that is preventing the union from coming on the property? That injunction has been in place a pretty long time now. And then I also want to know, and members want to know, when I think union elections are supposed to be in May, with the fact that persons were not working, youths were not coming in, can Darren speak to that? I think everybody should still be members of the union, even if they're not working at this time. But we know what the Constitution says. So I'd like to know, can he address that and speak to that? Because I think many members want to know what's going on with union elections, and are they still eligible to vote, saying that many of them were not able to pay dues because they're not working. And I just want to also say that there are hotel workers, particularly members of the hotel union, who feels that they need to hear more from the president of the union. Many of them feel like they don't have no representation. So they have reached out to me as a former presidential candidate, and I'm not about politics, I'm not about bashing. Those workers are hurting, and they need representation, they need assistance. The members of that union need assistance. So I'll hang up and hear Mr. Wood's response. Thank you.
Okay, quite a bit there. Let's
Mr. Strachan, I would jump right in. Mr. Beckford, he is the vice president of another union, and this is the problem we have right there, where you find that unions are attacking other unions. And this new breed of trade unionism, I don't know where they came from. But you had heard me say earlier that we negotiated for the assistance, and I did say, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Strachan, we made sure that everybody got. Right. As it relates from the union, you would have seen that the union on the pay stubs of the person said the union grocery assistance, okay? And so that was what the union would have done. And the union would foot the bill for that, okay? So that's what the union did. The other question was if persons are, and I did indicate that there are persons out there, I couldn't put a number on it. Then he was in the media. You saw the 5 people who were with him downtown. But I'm saying whoever is interested and they call us, we deferred them to where they needed to go to actually get the process started. And once it is started, the union would then be involved. Okay? And as it relates to the union's election, the notices are going out and the Constitution is clear and the Constitution will prevail. You could feel a certain way, but the actuality of the document, and he seems to be a professor of the Constitution because he took us to court and lost based on the Constitution. And he still owes us costs for that, as a matter of fact.
So for those of us who don't know, if you haven't been paying the dues, what does that mean? And what will happen?
The union is an organization that is, let me put it to you like this, right? If you're in insurance, however long you're in insurance for, and you don't pay, you can't claim off the insurance, right? But if you decide that you want to continue in that insurance, you go and then you reinstate, all right? And so whatever happens at the end of the day, we've not stopped negotiating or working on behalf of the industry and the persons who are members of the union, and we're not going to stop now.
So is that being taken into account? The fact that there was a pandemic, some people are working, they didn't have the money to pay their dues.
Yes, and the persons are working on that now. So whatever has to be taken into account, it will be. But I cannot speak to it because Darren Woods by himself cannot change what the Constitution says.
He also brought up an injunction preventing the union from going on properties. Tell us more about that.
Well, that injunction would have been when the union took an action, when we had a demonstration over by Atlantis, right, which he was employed at the time and did not participate in it, where we were trying to get them to move on the different issues that we had. The company went to court. They got an injunction, ex parte injunction, which means the union was not heard. And when we tried to get before the judge, and we've been trying, the courts have decided that they're going to limit what they hear at this time. And so we're still trying to get that matter heard. But because the union was not able to go on property, the union did not stop working. We continued to work on behalf of our members. And people who were trying to reach the union at all material time were able to reach the union at its office or the officers on their phone. And also the shop stewards pick up the slack and began to work on anything that they could not deal with. We had to deal with the issues via Zoom. And in addition to that, after the injunction, then came COVID. So which means nobody could go nowhere. And you still can't, because what most of the properties have now is a bubble. If you're not, you have to be tested regularly in order to go onto those properties. So persons who have not been tested, I'm not saying that we have not been, but I'm saying that did not prohibit the union from being able to work on behalf of its members, because there was not an issue that was brought to our attention that we did not address. And I challenged them to bring one that we didn't work on, that was brought to our attention.
I want to ask you about the Industrial Tribunal. We had the National Tripartite Council on a few weeks ago talking about that and what the proposed changes for the tribunal. Let's talk about the union's perspective on the tribunal, how it's been, if it's been working for you so far, and what you'd like to see come from reform for the Industrial Tribunal.
Well, the Industrial Tribunal was set up as a quote unquote a court that the workers could go to where they don't necessarily need an attorney. They could go and represent themselves, or by labor advocate or whatever have you. The tribunal, one of the things, it takes rather long to have the cases heard, and then at the end of the day, the tribunal cannot enforce its own ruling. You then have to go over to the Supreme Court. And I joined with my colleague, Mr. Ferguson, when he said that the tribunal, or if it's not the tribunal, there needs to be a labor court that is set up so to be able to hear labor matters, and the workers can kind of get their matters heard and whatever awards done kind of quickly. Because when it goes through that system, it takes too long. And then, of course, the employers, because they have these big fancy lawyers and they're able to stall, the employers can outbid you. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They can outbid you, and the employees cannot wait because they need to be paid or have their matters settled. So for us, we'd like to see the tribunal be set up where you could get in and get your cases heard, and whatever awards that is awarded, that they could get it, and also we'd like to see it with interest, as opposed to having to go over. Because once you leave from the tribunal, you then go to the Supreme Court, and then you have to have it heard, or the appeals court to have the matter heard. Sorry.
All right. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Mr. Strachan. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you.
This gentleman, you have your guest. Good morning to you, sir. Which union do he represent?
This is the Hotel Catering and Allied Workers Union.
And his name is?
Darren Woods.
This Mr. Darren Woods?
Yes.
Mr. Darren Woods, how are you, sir?
Hi. Very well, thank you, ma'am.
I can't hear him.
I said very well, thank you, ma'am.
Hello?
Yeah, he's doing very well. He's doing very well. He can hear you.
Okay, what I wanted to know, 3 years, almost 4 years ago, Mr. Woods was on Guardian Show with Juan McCartney. Mr. Woods, you promised me that you was going to check into my pension funds. I came up there to the hotel union, and to no avail to this day. So I haven't got no response from you about my pension or nothing. I just wanted to make sure this was you on the phone, sir. Could you please? I was short 3 weeks, so I asked if I could have paid so I could get my benefits. Nobody answered me on nothing. I can't catch up with you on nothing.
Okay, let's put you on hold and get your number. We will give that to Mr. Woods, and you can deal with that matter.
Well, because she
Mhm.
said it on national radio, Mr. Strachan, I think I should respond.
Yeah.
The pension fund is a separate entity, right? That is controlled by a board of trustees. And if I was on a show, I would not have told her that I could guarantee, because the employer pays on the employee's behalf. If you're not in the system, right, then there has to be, it doesn't automatically work that way. So I would not have said that to her. Well, I could get a name and a number, but the pension fund is what deals with it. While we may have trustees over there, it is administered by a trust declaration and document, which speaks to what's supposed to happen.
Okay, all right. I'm afraid to take this other call, but anyway, we'll get that number and get that to you, Darren Woods.
Okay, right. No problem.
Yeah. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on Morning Blend Business.
Yes, good morning. How you doing?
Doing well.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Woods.
Morning.
Hello?
Hi, yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, it's Mr. Woods. Yeah, it's the same problem with that lady I'm having, right? And, I wanted to get my pension money at 55. And so what happens is, Radisson, Wyndham, whatever, respectively, I have the full itinerary from National Insurance, but it doesn't coincide with the union. So for 3 years, Radisson, Wyndham, etc., whatever, didn't pay my pension funds. And so that exempted me, because I have like about 17, 18 years. So I need those 3 years to get it at 55 instead of 65, saying I might be alive. So I have the same problem with that lady that you had promised me too to look into the matter.
Okay.
I went there, and it's the same problem. I don't know what. I don't know if it's a legal matter or what.
Let's get your number as well. All right, so you might need to say that one more time, Darren, so people understand.
Listen, Mr. Strachan, the pension is set up in a particular, and I don't speak for the pension because the pension has a chairman, right? But from what I know, you need 10 credits to be vested. That's one, which means that you could get the minimum pension that is paid whenever the time paid. At 15 credits or 55, you can get what they call early retirement or disability or full pension at 65 with 25 credits. Outside of that, Darren Woods or anyone from the union cannot change what the trust document says. And if he says that he has 17 credits, he's in. He's in. And all he needs to do is take that information over there, and the place that administers it would make sure if you get his number, we can send the information over for them to check, because from where I sit, I cannot go over there and do it myself, if you understand what I'm saying, because it's a separate entity.
All right. We have less than a minute left. What is next for the union after this unbelievable year and a very shaky few months ahead of us, it appears? What is next for the union? We know you said you have elections coming up, but what else?
What we actually see is trying to get our people in the mindset right now, once we go back to work, to start to ensure that we deliver the top-notch service that we've been doing. So which means now that we actually have to improve on it. Can you improve on an A? We'll have to, because we have to make ourselves what we call the jewel of the Caribbean, and where persons are traveling, to ensure that we are able to start to get our numbers back up again. Because we have so many mitigating circumstances that is preventing us from moving forward. Persons are hesitant. They want to know whether or not it's safe. When you're talking about getting on a plane to travel here, there's so much things. So from the airport, from everything just has to be top notch.
Yeah.
And then we want to continue in the vein of trying to get our people retooled for jobs that they will be able to perform. And those ones that have already actually gone out and move into other fairs, we want to make sure that we're able to encourage them to put some things in place for entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And that's something that we've been talking. We would like to talk to the government. I know they have the small businesses and all those stuff, but the small man who's trying to get started, what incentive can they offer them to actually go into business, which would help to diversify our economy and also the industry, and what we need to do to try to make sure that we show up, because the tourism industry is so volatile.
Absolutely.
And like I said, no one expected this to happen, right? But now that this has happened, this has taught us a lesson, and we have a lot. I mean, I guess we could write a whole book as to some things that we need to look out for, even from our vantage point. We never saw something like this coming, but now we had to kind of react to it. And so now it puts us in a better place for when a pandemic such as this happens again.
God forbid. Yeah. Darren Woods.
God forbid.
Thank you so much. I know you have a big day ahead, but thank you for taking the time to talk with us this morning. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right. Darren Woods with the Bahamas Hotel Catering and Allied
Thank
Workers
you.
Union. And thank you again. And Stephen Hanna, thank you very much. Appreciate you being here with us. We'll talk again next week, and I'll be back Monday with more Morning Blend business right after Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Everybody have a great weekend. Be safe. We'll talk again on Monday. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green next.